Now it's case number 559 on account of the matter of Howie versus Revels. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. Howie, how long have you and your wife been married?
4 years, going on 5 years.
And you have one child?
Yes, ma'am.
How old?
Our child is 4 months old.
Defendant is your former girlfriend. You have a child with her who is now 12 years old. Is
Yes,
that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You and your wife get along?
Yes, very much.
You may have to tell her to butt out of your business. That's going to be a hard thing for you to do.
Yes, ma'am.
But I read your complaint, and that's eventually what you're going to have to tell her to do. Butt out. Because this is your complaint, which I have a sense that would not have been brought were it not for your wife. You were moving from one location to another.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant moved into your old place. Is that right?
That's correct.
And there was some furniture there. According to your wife, because she wrote the complaint, you loaned her the furniture, said you could use it. And then you left and you moved to your new location, where you still reside.
Yes, ma'am.
And you also left the cable on in your name.
That's correct, in Kristen's name, my wife.
And she said she would take care of switching it over. You eventually did switch it over. And there was a cable bill for a couple of months. How many months?
It's 2 months.
Which is how much?
$367.57 from the collections.
Right. From collection.
From the collections now, because now it's
Okay.
in collections.
Some of that was her bill.
Don't speak! And you want the furniture back. Now, there's some convoluted story that you went there and didn't take the furniture back, left it there, and now she hasn't returned it to you and you've asked for it.
Yes.
But this whole thing came about because probably your wife had a baby. There was a lot of money going out. You haven't paid child support in a while. They're taking your tax return.
Yes, ma'am.
So your wife said, now you're going to sue her for the furniture. That be a fair statement, Mr.
It's,
Howie?
you know, it's pretty close.
It's pretty close. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out, sir. That's why you have to tell your wife to back off. This 12-year-old child has nothing to do with her.
Exactly.
Nothing to do with her. And anything that's done since I assume that for 12 years or 11 years, before you got involved with her, before you made another baby with her, everything was okay with Miss Revels and your child.
Absolutely.
You enjoyed a reasonable relationship. You even asked her to move in. There was no animus for a very long time.
No, I'm not saying that. This has nothing to do with my 12-year-old daughter, though. This has to do
It has everything to do with your 12-year-old daughter, sir. You go to court when you haven't paid child support because you have a new baby.
Well, I will pay mine.
And you have new responsibility. Before you had a new baby, a new responsibility, and a new wife, you paid your child support when you were supposed to. You did what you were supposed to. You lived close to your child.
Yep.
You know, I could write this book even though it's not in here, Mr. Howie.
Oh, listen,
I've been in family court for a very long time, sir. That's what happened. You had a wonderful relationship with your child. You had a decent relationship with the defendant. You paid your child support when you were supposed to. You decided to have a new life. You married this lady. You and your wife decided to have a new child. And then all of a sudden, new wife says, money's going out. That's not fair.
Your Honor, I mean, with all due respect, she owes the money.
The cable bill's
That
in
has
my
nothing
name.
to do with
Listen
it.
to me. I'm not talking about the cable bill. I'm talking about the furniture. The cable bill she knows she owes, right?
Yes, you're right.
So she doesn't owe me for the furniture because I owe her child
Mr.
support?
Howie.
I mean, she can't
Mr.
have
Howie,
both, right?
I don't think she agreed to buy the furniture.
You're right, she didn't, but where's it at? She
Just
never
a
gave
second.
it to us.
I don't think she agreed to buy the furniture. If you say, I sold her the furniture for $500 and she didn't pay it, that's a different story. That's not what you say here. And what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Howie, is you're going to have to tell your wife to back off, that it's none of her business.
Well, the furniture was my doing. That's me. It's my furniture.
You can't have it back.
Well, shouldn't I
You
be
can't have
compensated?
it
I don't
back.
want it back. I just want to be compensated
You're
for it.
not going to get compensated for it. You're not going to get money from her for it, especially if you tell me I don't want it back. Say, I don't
It's
want
gone.
it back.
We tried getting it back. It's
Just
gone.
Your Honor,
second.
they have not.
Just a second. Especially if you tell me I don't want it back. I want to be compensated for it. When was the last
Well,
time?
I'll take it back if
Hey,
you give it back to me. But
We've tried to get it back 2
This
times.
has nothing to do with you. The cable bill was in your name. You're going to get paid. Other than that, it has nothing to do with you. This 12-year-old has nothing to do with you.
I'm not following the relevance of my daughter in this.
That's because you're a moron.
Okay. Okay.
That's because you're a moron. If you're standing on one side of a counsel table and the mother of your child is standing on the other side of a counsel table, that's not good for your child.
Exactly.
You don't get that. And if you don't get that, you're a moron.
Okay.
Now you get it.
Sure.
And if you didn't pay child support, because according to your wife, let me read you what she wrote. Due to our financial stresses, John got behind in his child support payments. And the government is now keeping our tax refund that we would have received in April of '09. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
They're supposed to keep your refund if you get behind. Why did you get
Exactly.
behind, Mr. Howie?
Because she had been taken off of work because of her pregnancy.
That's not her problem.
I agree.
Just a
It's not
second.
her problem.
That's not her problem. That's not your 12-year-old daughter's problem.
You're right.
That you made a new baby. If you can't afford to have 2 children, only have 1. And if you can't afford to have 1, you don't have 14. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
It's very nice to want to have another baby. You don't have another baby unless you can afford it. And one of the things that happens when you have a baby, the mother sometimes has to take time off from work. She doesn't feel well. Sometimes she takes maternity leave. You don't have 2 incomes anymore. And all of a sudden, you have to make choices. And the choice that you made was not to send your 12-year-old daughter child support. That's unacceptable, sir. And because you got PO'd, because they advised you that your tax return was being
No,
paid,
it
you're
had
not
nothing to
getting
do
your
with it.
furniture
Actually, it
back.
had nothing to do
You're
with it.
getting, your wife is getting her cable bill paid, because that you owe her.
So she gets to keep all my stuff and get her child support? I mean, can't we have an equilibrium here?
Here,
Yeah,
Can it
you
be
just had an
balanced?
equilibrium. I made you an equilibrium. If you don't understand it, that's your problem. Put your hand down.
She gets the
John and Kristen Howie claim the mother of John's child, Leela Revels, owes for a cable bill and for the value of missing belongings.
Mr. Howie, how much do you pay in child support?
$266
$266 a week?
a month.
A month. Let's figure that out.
Which we never get.
Get him out of here, please. He's useless. Okay, Mr. Howie, let me tell you what your super generous child support to your daughter generates. $8 a day. I don't feed my 2 dogs on $8 a day. You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
You get it? You don't pay child support for this child. You pay a token of what it costs to raise a 12-year-old. You can't buy a pair of sneakers and a pair of jeans and an outfit to go to school. You can't feed a child for $8 a day. So your $8 a day is a token. What it says is, I know I'm your father, and I know I can't support you adequately, but I have to do something, so here's my $8 a day. Do you get it, sir?
I understand what you're saying.
And you don't even pay that. You have some gall standing there. You really do. You have some gall standing there. And I'm telling you, there's going to have to come a time when you're going to have to find yours and tell her to stay out of your business. Do you understand, Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am.
Go looking for them. We understand each other? You get your $367 for a cable bill. Period. End of discussion. Goodbye.
Spiders are excused. You may step out.
She painted a pretty ugly picture, you know, the judge did, but I mean, it's her ruling, so we got to go with it.
Maybe he'll start paying some child support.
I understand I owe her a lot in child support, and I do plan on paying that back.
We tried to get the furniture back a lot of times, but it was never there for us to get it.
It's all there. We're still sitting on the couch to this day.
They lied and said we didn't even try to get it.
I didn't even know that was a problem until not too long ago.
It's all said and done, so let's just, you know, have a short memory of this incident and forget about it.
I would hope, we all could get along, and I hope this doesn't, affect anything.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of buyers versus buyers, step forward.
James Byers is suing his son, Gabriel Byers, for the return of money he gave him for safekeeping.
Mr. Byers, this is your son. According to your complaint, several years ago, you left some money in an account for him that he was just sort of keep in case of emergencies. It's your claim that that was $5,000. You want your money back. Your son's defense to that is you told him that he could replenish that account whenever he had extra money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a few questions for you because I found some things interesting in your complaint and some things interesting in your answer. First, Mr. Byers, show me where you got the money from to put in an account in your son's name.
From working.
No, show me the account. Where you got the money from, transfer, whatever.
There you have the cashier's check and a copy of the canceled cashier's check.
And that was in November of 2005.
Right.
And did you have any formal agreement with your son in writing with regard to this money?
No, I didn't.
Now, I've read in your son's answer that you and his mother were divorced,
Yes, we are.
and there were 2 children.
There are 3.
3 children. And there was a period of time when you were in substantial noncompliance with a child support order. Is that correct?
That's true.
And that arrears had accrued for at least 2 of your children. A daughter, is that correct?
That is not correct.
A son.
Just a son.
I'm quoting your son's answer. He was trying to get a job at the time, and I told my mother that he had changed, and now that I was grown, to let it go. She signed off on approximately $60,000 that he owed her. My mother called me very upset over his second attempt to get his back child support cleared again, and I had had it. So is that for the same child, sir?
I
It's
really
not an
don't know.
answer.
I really don't know what he's saying there. I have no
I'm
idea.
asking you questions, sir. In what year did you have your former wife sign off and say she no longer wanted to collect $60,000 from you in back child support? In what year was that?
I have no idea.
What year, sir?
I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly.
Well, figure it out as closely as you can. Otherwise, I'll call your mother.
It was 2004, maybe.
So it was about the same time that your father gave you a check for $5,000. Is that correct?
That check came some years later.
No. That check came in 2005.
Okay, then the child support thing happened maybe a couple years before that then.
Who was the child support for?
The child support that was signed off on was for myself and my brother.
How old is your brother?
He is 40.
And when were they coming after your father for this back child support? Or was your mother coming after him for the
I guess
back
my mother
child-
was coming after him about it.
And she signed off on it?
After I talked to her about it, yes.
Right. And then you got a check for $5,000 from your father?
Yes, I did.
Why do you think that your former wife signed off on $60,000 worth of back child support?
Your Honor, I have no knowledge of her signing off on anything.
Was she
Years-
pursuing child support from you, sir? Did she have a case, or was she proceeding with a case to try to recoup the child support that you owed her?
I simply don't know. I
Well,
have
your
no
son
idea.
knows, and she would know. She's a simple phone call.
She didn't sign off, as far as I know, on any $60,000 worth of child support.
Child support in any amount.
Not that I know of. She
Well,
told me that
explain-
she had. She told me she had signed off, let's say in '98 or something like that.
Wasn't
And then
98.
I began to get notices of child support. I go to her and I ask her, I said, "What is this?" She told me you had signed off. She said, "Well, give me the notices and I'll take care of it," and then didn't. So I don't know of anything about any sign off, period.
All right. Now you're going to tell me the story so that I can believe it about why you gave your son a certified check for $5,000.
I simply gave it to him for safekeeping. I
I want you to explain to me why a certified check, sir.
Well, so I could have a paper trail.
You have a paper trail if you have a regular check. You have a canceled check. You have the same check that you do if you have an official check, sir.
Well, I felt a certified check was the thing to do.
When was the last time you gave your son a substantial amount of money?
Well, I've given him money, and he's run into rough spots before, and I've given him money before.
Only fair. You didn't support him as you were supposed to when he was growing up, so you made up for it now. Only reasonable.
I'm trying to understand what money before had
Just
he
to say,
given
what
me.
doesn't make any difference. Does anything that I say sound as if it's hurting you, sir? Does anything that I'm saying
No.
in this case sound as if I'm hurting you?
No, ma'am.
So what I'm saying to you, Mr. Byer, is the money that you didn't pay for his support when he was growing up, if you threw him an extra couple of dollars or an extra couple of $1,000s when he was in need as an adult, so what? It was money that you owed anyway.
I owe his mother money, not him.
You don't owe his mother money anymore.
I owe his mother money.
When was
and
the
not
last
him.
time you gave his mother money?
There is an order in place.
That's not my question. When was the last time you gave his mother money?
I can't remember.
Well, was it in this decade? Was it in this millennium?
The only thing I can tell you is that I'm paying child support, and I am current, and I have been current for 10 years.
He can't be current. He's 37.
I'm current in the arrears that was set up.
When your son has the money to give you back that you left in his care, he'll pay you back. Can you give him back any money now?
No, ma'am.
I left the money with him simply for him to, as a keepsake for me.
As a keepsake.
And actually,
as a
he would
keepsake.
run
Mr.
into...
Byer, I never heard such a ridiculous story in my life. And if you and your son have an agreement, and your son says that you have an agreement, I don't know why he said it. I'm not exactly sure, because I think if my common sense dictates to me, there was sort of a quid pro quo, that your son got his mother to sign off on this child support, and in exchange he got the $5,000. That sounds logical to me. What does not sound logical to me is an adult parent saying to a child, I'm giving you $5,000, as you just said to me, as a keepsake for me, and I'll come to you when I need it or when I want it. That suggests that you can't take care of your own money, or that the state was coming after you for money, and the reason you put it in a cashier's check was that there was no paper trail. No paper trail, not a paper trail, no paper trail. So you had accumulated some cash, you wrote out a cashier's check, and you gave it to him to put away.
Yeah, it's case number 578 on the calendar in the matter of DeBarry versus Gagliano.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. DeBarry, you and the defendant were in a relationship and you lived together
Yes, Your
until
Honor.
sometime in May of last year.
Yes, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, you believe that Ms. Gagliano is responsible for several things. First, for an assault that you allege she perpetrated on you on that day. Second, you claim that she filed a false application for a restraining order against you, which caused you to incur some fees. You want her to be responsible, in addition, for a hotel that you had to pay for when she filed these false charges and you were forced to leave the home.
Yes.
The defendant says that you actually did, in fact, assault her. She says that in addition, she had to, since she was arrested, she had to stay in an apartment for a couple of weeks while you were living in her home. And in addition, when she finally was allowed back into the home, she found that the place was a mess and that you allegedly took some property that didn't belong to you. When did this incident occur?
May 24th, 2000.
And how long have the two of you been living together at
Just
that
over
time?
2 years.
So why don't you start by telling me what happened on the 24th of May?
Well, on May 24th, I had picked her up from the airport because she had been at her family's because her father had passed away. And, you know, we came into the apartment and I went into the bedroom and I got on the computer because I was looking for a rental car. And she right away started getting irate with me and yelling at me.
Why was she yelling at you?
We had conversations to the fact that we weren't getting along, that there was some issues.
Before she went away or when she was...
While she was away,
While she
I
was
had brought it to her attention that I felt like I was just a roommate. You know, I'm paying bills and I'm living there, but there's nothing else. So we discussed that when she got back, we would talk. As soon as she got back, she didn't say nothing on the car ride back from the airport. She got into the apartment and she flipped out.
Well, tell me how she flipped out, sir. What
She
did she
started throwing stuff, my golf clubs across the room. She wiped off everything off the desk and the dresser.
Well, what was it that precipitated that? Something usually happens before.
Nothing. She was just, I couldn't understand. This is a shock to me because she was never like this. So she continued to get irate and she's like, I want you out of here.
Were you not sympathetic to her?
I was.
Okay.
And I said, you want me out of here? Call the cops. She refused to call the cops. So she got in my face, clenched her fists, and turned red, and she was gritting her teeth, and she's like, pushing towards me like she wanted me to hit her. And I just backed away. I said, you need to get out of here. You need to go sit down and go do something because I don't need to deal with this. She's like, I want you out. I said, here, call 911. I typed 911 in my cell phone, and I went to hand it to her. She wouldn't take it. She finally walked out of the room. I sat down at the desk. I was on the computer chair. And a couple minutes later, she came back in and she lunged at me on the chair and started digging into my face. So I had 911 programmed in the phone, so all I did was hit send. And I got the dispatcher. And I told him, she's attacking me. You need to send somebody here now. And she got up and she was hysterical and she went out in the other room. The dispatcher told me, lock the door, stay away from her, and stay on the phone with him, which I did. Police officers arrived, and that's when they started investigating.
Do you have the police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
Here you go. There's also pictures on there, too.
All right. Why don't you tell me your version of the events, please?
My version is that I was with my mom because my dad had passed away, and I was there for a month from April 9th
to May 24th. During this time, I received a phone bill, and I noticed he was calling this, making outgoing and receiving ingoing calls from this same number. And I questioned him about it, and he says he had fallen in love with this other person, and I didn't want him to be with me if he was in love with someone else or having relations with other people.
When did he tell you that?
I don't know the exact date.
Well, is it when you were away? Or
it was when I was at my mom's house.
Okay.
It was at my mom's house, and we had conversations for him to leave because we were both unhappy in the relationship. Because it was pretty much...
So far, does that ring a bell?
I never said that I was in love with this, but that is true that there was some calls, and it was never discussed like that.
Well, how was it discussed?
Like I had told you previously, I was unhappy, and I felt like we were roommates, and she agreed that it was like we're roommates.
Oh, so you became involved with somebody else?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Well, at
it was
least
a
on the
friend of
telephone.
mine that she accused me of cheating on her with.
You know, there's all kinds of cheating,
Right.
sir. There's emotional cheating, there's physical cheating. You were having conversations with another woman, correct?
Yes, a friend.
Okay, go ahead. So you got back from...
I got back from Myrtle Beach, and I was unpacking my suitcase, and I had asked him to leave the apartment twice because I was really upset, and he was cursing at me, calling me bad things. And
No, that didn't start. That doesn't make sense. He picked you up from the airport.
we were talking, and he said we didn't talk on the way home. We were talking on the way home.
He picked you up from the airport. He didn't say take a cab home, take a car service home. He picked you up from the
With
airport.
my car.
I don't care whether he picked you up with your car or not. He picked you up at the airport, correct?
Right.
And there was no scene at the airport.
In the car there was.
I said there was no scene in the airport. And when you got home, he just started to curse you? Is that what you're telling me? That doesn't make sense. Makes sense that you were angry with him because of what you saw on the phone bill, but it doesn't make sense that he would start cursing at you.
Well, because I told him I didn't love him. We had discussed that we wanted to separate, and I had asked him to leave, and he said no, and he became very violent.
Well, tell me what he did.
I went over to the desk to get...
Make sure it's consistent with this police report.
I went over to the desk because I saw my car keys on there, and I didn't want him leaving with my car. I should have just let him leave with my car and reported
Don't
the car.
tell me what you should have done. Just
I
tell
know.
me what you did.
So I went over to the desk to just grab my car keys, and he grabbed me by the neck and was holding me by the neck. And then once he had me by the neck, I tried to get him to release me, so I scratched him on the face.
Police officers said, I observed Michelle's neck and did not see any marks or any form of injury. At the headquarters, Michelle stated that Joseph slammed the door in her face and injured her back when he jumped on her. Michelle made no claim of these actions when Sergeant and I were at her residence, and there were no injuries or marks consistent with her statement. He advised that while she was in the holding cell, Michelle did not confide any information that she was in fear of Joseph. Michelle was charged with simple...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joseph DeBari says his ex-girlfriend Michelle Gagliano owes for an assault, hotel fees, and for filing false charges. Michelle is countersuing for an assault, hotel fees, and damaged property.
Okay, you filed for a protective order on that date.
I was advised by...
And granted a
Yes.
protective order. Okay, then you went back to the apartment.
Yes.
How long did you stay in the apartment?
It was 3 days.
When did you find out that the lease was in her name?
When I was removed from the apartment, I went to the office to ask them for a copy of the lease. Because
Well, tell
all
me-
along, I was under the assumption, because we filled out papers together when we got the apartment, I was supposed to be on the lease.
Did you ever sign a lease?
I signed a document stating that I was going to be a registered occupant.
Were you a registered occupant on the lease?
As far as I was concerned, yes.
Can I see the lease, please?
He wasn't, and the reason for that was because of his criminal background. And that's why I had fraud and embezzlement or whatever.
That's your choice. If it's true, and I don't know if it's true or not, that was your choice, right?
To live with him?
Yeah.
I know, but
That was your choice.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you didn't find out anything new about his criminal background after you moved from one apartment to another. You chose to live with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were there 3 days. And then what happened, sir?
I got a knock on the door, 2 police officers telling me I had to leave. They came in and they said, if you don't leave, we're going to arrest you. And this was at 5 o'clock. So I was like, this is wrong. I'm supposed to be here. You know, the court said I should be here. Well, you have to deal with them. It's after hours. You have to leave. So I left. I had a friend of mine pick me up and take me to a hotel. So I had contacted the courts and also the district attorney. And he stated to me, why are you out of the apartment? You have every right to be there.
Don't tell me what he stated to you, sir. That's hearsay.
To go back. So I went back after 4 days.
Okay, and?
And then our court proceedings continued. It was a 2-week adjournment. And after that, I decided to get my stuff.
And leave.
And leave. And just
Well,
bring
that's
the
a
keys
very
to
good
court.
idea.
I didn't want no trouble.
That's a very good idea. I believe his version of the events, and I do not believe yours.
Sorry.
I believe that you assaulted him, that there was a terrible altercation, and that you filed a restraining order subsequently. Unless you have medical records. You have medical records?
I went to the emergency room.
Just a second. I want to see the medical records. I want to see what the physical manifestation was of this alleged assault.
And there's pictures, too.
I'm not looking at any pictures. The police officer memorialized exactly what they saw when they came to the premises. So you went to the emergency room the next day?
Yes.
Not that day. You went the next day. And then you went 3 days later.
Because I tried
Don't tell me what they said. I'm just asking you for objective data. You went the next day to the emergency room. And then you went 3 days after that. I'm just reading the records.
It was a holiday weekend.
Don't tell me what it was.
And I tried to do it that day, but they told me I couldn't.
Don't tell me what they told you, madam. That's hearsay. You can always go to the emergency room.
I mean, for me to, I tried to file a...
You can always go to the emergency room.
No, I know that. I'm not...
I just made a simple statement. The simple statement was you went to the emergency room the next day.
Yes.
Who took the photographs that you want to show me?
I did. I took them in the hotel room because I had to stay at a hotel for 11 days. And I took them before I went to the emergency room.
On what date?
On the 25th of May.
I want to look at them. It's nonsense. Okay. You were asked to leave because of what?
That she filed a complaint against me.
When did you file a complaint against him?
It was when the courts reopened on Tuesday or Wednesday.
I'd like to see the complaint. You give so many different versions of this event. To the police, to the doctors in the hospital, in your application for a protective order, and to me. In one narrative of the event, you say he slammed a door in your face and pushed you down. You told me he grabbed you by the throat, and that's what caused you to scratch him. Here you say that you went to grab a set of keys off the desk, he grabbed you by the neck and threw you down, and was holding you down by the neck.
He was.
Well, that's not what you told the doctors in the hospital.
I told them the same thing.
Do you want me to read what you told them?
I read it, and she wrote it.
She wrote it down differently.
She did.
Yeah. I believe that she filed this in retaliation, so you're filing the protective order. What expenses did you have with regard to defending the protective order?
I had $300 in a hotel for 4 days.
Let me see the bill.
This is my bank statement. There's 2 days on there, and 2 days I paid cash. I understand.
How much were the 2 days that are down there?
$74 a day.
I'm dismissing the part of your claim that seeks compensation for an assault. I do not believe you were assaulted. I believe he was. I believe you lost your temper, and that's what happened. I believe that you filed a restraining order against him in retaliation for his filing one so that you could get back into your apartment. That's what you did, and it didn't work. So I'm not awarding you anything on your counterclaim for the 2 weeks that you had to stay in a hotel room. You had to stay in a hotel room because you assaulted him, and he had a protective order. Now we're going to talk about your property. What do you claim that he took that belonged to you when he left?
He took a $200 blender. He took a digital photo frame. He took a business card case that I had. It all added up to...
Don't tell me what it added up to. I want to hear what he took.
He took
Keep going.
a wheeled laptop bag, a big Yankee clock that was on the wall, and that's it.
Did you take any of those items that belonged to
No, Your
him?
Honor. I took what was mine, just my clothes.
Did you ever file a police report with regard to items that he took?
No.
Why not?
Because when we went to court, he told my lawyer to tell me
No, don't tell me what he told your lawyer. After you got home, you're not a stranger now to the system. So now you can go back and file a police report that he stole items that belong to you.
Okay.
Did you ever do that?
No, I didn't think I had to
Good.
do that.
Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
I'm awarding you, sir, $648, which is $148 for your hotel room and $500 for your scratches. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He gets away with lies.
I didn't realize she was full of lies. I just knew that we didn't have a relationship.
He's just a shady person.
It was just getting worse, and I just wasn't happy.
He's just shady, manipulative, and he lies.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Flint versus White. Step forward.
26-year-old Melissa Flint is suing her ex-boyfriend, 26-year-old Brian White, for the unpaid balance on a furniture set and a television.
Miss Flint, you and Mr. White had a brief relationship, and according to your complaint, he owes you money for furniture and a television set that you put on your credit card.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. White says he doesn't owe you anything, although he is sitting on the furniture and watching the television.
Yes, ma'am.
How long did the two of you date?
We dated approximately 2 months.
From when to when?
We started dating the middle of December to about the middle of February.
And when did he move into this apartment that needed furniture?
He was moving the weekend of the 19th of January of 2008.
So far correct, Mr. White?
I thought we dated a lot longer than that.
It just seemed longer, Mr. White.
Possibly, but no. I do recall at least being with her through March and maybe some of April.
Fine. Where were you living, Miss Flint?
I was living in an apartment of my own in Kansas City.
How long had you been living there?
I moved in July of 2007.
And Mr. White, where had you been living previous to this apartment?
I lived with my father.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was a sales rep for a company called Service Manager.
Miss Flint had her own apartment, you had your apartment. Why would she buy you furniture?
It's a good question.
No. I always ask good questions, Mr. White.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I'm here.
That's
I expect
right.
from you a truthful answer.
I will give you a truthful answer.
Then get to it.
Okay. She was with me at the time that I was moving out of my father's house. My roommate and I didn't have a bedroom or a TV, a nice
So
TV
you
for
moved in with a
downstairs.
roommate?
I moved in with a roommate, yes. I did.
Go ahead.
Anyways, as we got down to it, we were beginning to move in. I still did not have a TV or a bedroom set. She was willing to.
No, not she was willing to. I want you to tell me how it came about.
Well, I asked her if
What did
she
you
would-
ask her?
If she would help me purchase a bedroom and a TV.
And what did she say?
She said yes.
And what did you say?
I said I would help make payments.
Then why are we here?
Because at the time we were together.
No, don't look down. Then why are we here?
Because at the time when we were together, she said she would help make payments with me. At the time that we broke up, I found out that she was with her ex-boyfriend.
Who cares?
I stopped making payments.
On what theory?
I looked at it as a gift.
He has really no defense to this. The fact that he didn't like the reason for your breakup is not a reason
ma'am.
not to pay the bill.
We were together when she helped me purchase these. We went into it together.
No, you didn't go into it together, sir.
Yes,
If
we
you
did.
lived together in an apartment with her, I would hear you. She
ma'am.
had her own apartment. You moved
We
in
had
with
our
a
own
roommate.
place.
Listen to me. You moved in with a roommate. According to your testimony, not more than 3 minutes ago, you said you had an understanding. She said, can you help me buy the furniture? She said yes. And what was your understanding? She bought the furniture and I would make the payments. That's what you just said.
I said I would help with the payments, ma'am.
When was the last time you helped with the payments?
The last time I helped is after we broke up. The month that we broke up, I made
Listen,
my
you
last
look
payment.
foolish enough. Don't say anything else. All right? You look like enough of a fool. Say nothing else. You don't want your father to see this. $2,158. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She got back with the next boyfriend.
We weren't even dating. We didn't talk.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. Yes, case number 8 on the calendar in the matter of Matahano versus Martinez.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Matahano, it is your claim that at a party where I conjure up in my imagination there was a lot of drinking going on, that Ms. Martinez assaulted you. You want her to be responsible for your medical bills and for your pain and suffering as a result of that assault. Ms. Martinez indicates in her answer that this was a case of self-defense.
Yes.
First, tell me, on what date was this party you attended?
It was January 11th.
2009?
Right.
And at whose home was the party?
It was at Edson's house.
Who's? Keep your voice
Edson's
up.
house.
Who was that?
Him. I mean, Nicole's
The house
boyfriend.
is actually mine.
You say it was at his house.
Well, I didn't know she lived there. It was.
You live there as well?
It's my house, yes.
Who owns the house?
I do.
And what was he doing there?
He's my boyfriend.
So you own the house.
He lives with me.
you.
Mhm.
Who invited you to the party?
A friend of ours.
Who?
I can't say her name, but we were invited personally to that party.
What do you mean you can't say her name?
Her name was Alexia.
You know that person?
Absolutely not.
Do you?
I don't, Your Honor.
Was she at the party?
Yeah, she was there with some other friends. We knew Edson from before. We had been to his house a few times and party. We didn't know he had a girlfriend now.
So you had been to his house before when she wasn't home?
I think he was single back then because we didn't know she
Is
lived
it the
there.
same house?
She didn't live there before.
Listen to me carefully. Is it the same house you went to
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
How many times had you been to the house?
Probably twice.
Twice, did you say?
Yeah.
Before January of 2009. When were you at the house before?
Yeah.
That doesn't require a yes or a no. That requires a date. Before January 2009, when was the last time you were at the house?
I don't remember. It was probably
a month,
like
2 months,
more
3
than
months,
a year
6
ago.
months. What?
Probably more than a year ago.
How long have you been living there?
For a few months.
This is going to get better. Okay, so January 11th, you were invited by some girl. Now, who did you see? Did you see her when you got there?
Yeah.
What time did you get there?
We got there like around 11.
Who did you go to the party with?
Me, April, and my sister.
Let's go. You got there at 11 o'clock. What happened when you got there?
When we got there, we were dancing, and there was some girls already fighting. They were already fighting. I don't know why, because there was some girls dancing on their table, and I don't know why they were fighting, but they were fighting right in front of me. And we were about to leave, but then they calmed down, so we decided to stay a little longer. So we were just having a good time, partying. Even Edson came up to us and gave us a hug, and he was like, "Hey guys, how are you guys?" And we're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And
he does that to everybody.
Listen to me.
We don't have a table.
Quiet. How much drinking were you doing, and what were you drinking?
I only had a mixed drink.
What kind of alcohol were you drinking?
It was vodka with like Sprite.
Did you meet any guys there that night? Is not an answer. Did you meet any guys there that night?
Yeah.
Did you end up in the bathroom with one of them?
No.
For sure.
Did you end up in the bathroom with somebody?
No, he wanted to walk me to the bathroom, and I kept telling him to leave.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you if you ended up in the bathroom with somebody.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the answer. With whom?
I didn't know him.
Who walked into the bathroom first, you or the guy?
I did, and then he followed me.
And after he followed you into the bathroom, who closed the door?
He did.
And what did you do in the bathroom?
I was telling him to get out because I needed to use our bathroom, and I wasn't feeling good, and he wouldn't get out.
Don't look down. Look at me.
And he wouldn't get out, and then that's when they started knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And that's when I told him to get out. I was like, get out, get out. And he got out, and I stayed in the restroom because I needed to use the restroom.
That's not true.
Okay. Now let's just take it up to there, Miss Martinez, because I read your answer very carefully. Let's start with knocking at the bathroom door. You were trying to get people out of the house.
Yes, I had gotten overcrowded. Me and him started kicking people out. He was pounding on the door. I came to see what was going on. My lock is one of those you could just stick like a card in and just unlock it. So that's what I did because the door was locked. I unlocked it. She's wrapped in my towels and he has his pants down. So I go, I shut the door. I go, I'm giving you 5 minutes to get changed and get out of my restroom. I waited. I started kicking more people out. I came back. He had already fled by the time I came back. He ran out as fast as he could. I came in. She's kneeling in my restroom, and she's telling me to hold on. I go, no. I gave you 5 minutes to put your clothes on, and I asked you to get out, and I asked you nicely, and I didn't do anything. She didn't want to listen. She kept telling me to hold on, so I grabbed her, and I pulled her out of my restroom, and I told her to leave. We then started throwing punches at each other because of the way I pulled her out, and that's when everything had started. Next thing I know, I have 2 other girls come and jump me as well. I have 3 of them on top of me by myself.
You mean these 2 girls?
Those 2.
Okay.
Which I don't know what the 16-year-old was doing at my house or why she would bring a 16-year-old to my house, but she was
Who's 16?
She's 17.
What were you doing there? What were you doing there?
We went to, I wanted to go with her, and yeah, we ended up there at the party.
That you didn't go to until 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Who do you live with?
My mom and my dad.
They let you go to a party at 11 o'clock
My
at
parents
night?
weren't home that weekend. Sorry.
Our parents weren't home that weekend, so we left.
She just said she was at home with her parents.
How many times do I have to tell you? Don't speak to me.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Don't speak to me sitting down, and don't stand up until I ask you.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah.
Perfect. So your parents weren't home that night, or the whole weekend?
Yeah.
But you knew it was the wrong thing to do?
Yes.
Now you can sit down. Okay, go ahead, Miss Martinez.
All 3 of them had a full grip of my hair, and I was trying to swing. I couldn't because they had me like literally bent over. And the first thing I grabbed was a bottle, and I swung. I didn't know who I was swinging at. I just swung. I got her. She still kept fighting, and both of them kept fighting. The guys had finally pulled us all apart. April then comes running back in. He steps in the middle of us because she's getting ready to hit me. And she's hitting him, trying to get through him to me. And then that's when more guys come, get her off of him, take her outside, and ask them to leave.
How many people were drunk that night?
I'd probably say 95% of the people that were there.
And that would be including you and including her?
I wasn't, because I was actually watching everything that was going on. Because I'm the owner of the house, I was just kind of patrolling. However, at the end of the night, when all the fight had happened, her sister actually came up to me and said, I really apologize for my sister, but she's really wasted.
That is not true.
Shh. Are you speaking sitting down? Don't get up, I didn't ask you. Not a shouting match here. This is a courtroom.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandra Montejano says party hostess Nicole Martinez beat her up during a wild night of drinking. Nicole claims she was acting in self-defense.
Okay, tell me your version. Now you're in the bathroom. Now you're in the bathroom. And if you think that I believe that he followed you into the bathroom and nothing was going on there,
I don't even remember that guy taking his
because you were wasted, because you drank too much.
Maybe he tried to do something with me while I was using the restroom.
Because you were drunk. Because you drank too much. And you brought... She's your younger sister? Hey, I'm speaking. Now you're trying to talk over me. First I can't hear you, and now you're trying to talk over me. That's your kid's sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing you did wrong was to take your sister out to a place you knew you shouldn't have taken her. Right?
Right.
Did you let her drink when you were there?
No.
Did you drink anything?
No.
Yeah, baloney.
She didn't drink.
Baloney.
And I wouldn't be making out with the guy in the restroom knowing that my little sister is outside.
Yeah, yes, you would have.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you absolutely would have. For the same reason that you took her out at 11 o'clock at night. Now, give me your version. And I have other things to do today.
I don't remember. Half of what she's saying, it's a lie. Because
I didn't ask you half of what she's saying is a lie. I asked you your version. Hey, you're trying to talk over me again? I asked you to tell me your version of what happened after she told you to get out of the bathroom.
Okay, what happened is...
That you first told me you weren't in with a guy.
No, I did. I told you I was, but I never did anything with that
First
guy.
you told me you weren't. Now let's move on. You're in the bathroom. She tells you to get out of the bathroom. He leaves. Go ahead.
Okay, as soon as he walks out of the bathroom, I start, using the bathroom. And that's when she tried to get me out of the bathroom. And I was like, hold on, I need to use the bathroom. And I didn't know who was knocking the door. When I came out of the bathroom, she just pulled me and started stalking me until I was shocked, like punching me all over the place. And I was shocked. I didn't even have a chance to defend myself. And so I remember seeing myself in the floor crying, and then they were telling me to leave, that we were going home already. So when we were walking out, I was like, did she just hit me like that or randomly? Like, I'm shocked. I can't believe she just attacked me like that. So I'm like, who is she? I wanna know who she is. I wasn't looking for a fight. I was just going to confront her. Like, why did she do that? I didn't do anything wrong. I have the police. So when we were leaving, she was outside surrounded by all these guys. And it seemed like all they wanted was just fight. Because I went up, I was walking
Don't
towards her.
tell me what it seems. Just tell me what happened.
Well, because when I was walking towards her, she just cracked the beer bottle in my head without even knowing why I was walking towards her for. I wasn't even sure if she was the one that had attacked me in the first place.
You mean you're in a tight area in somebody's house, right outside the bathroom, and you're not sure who it was who attacked you?
Right. I was still, in my mind, I was still looking for the girl that attacked me, and I don't know where she just...
Drunk. As a skunk. Drunk. Go to the hospital?
Yeah.
I want to see the report. And I want to see the police report. Thank you, sir. I don't want the hospital bills. I want the hospital report.
Well, I requested them and they never called me back. They said they were going to give me a call back to go pick them up.
Okay. You told the police officer that when plaintiff came to you, you swung a beer bottle that was in your right hand. Is that right? That's what you told the police. That's what you told the police.
That's what they put down, yes.
No, that's what you told them.
Okay.
And at the police station, you acknowledged that you were wrong and that you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a start. You had no right to hit her with a beer bottle. You understand that?
I know.
Once somebody tells you to leave their house, you have to leave.
We were leaving.
No. Immediately. You overstayed your welcome. You were in the bathroom doing something you shouldn't have been doing. She wanted you to leave. It's her house. You should have left immediately. That doesn't mean that she has the right to lose it, which she clearly did. And so she has to be responsible. You have no health insurance?
No.
Have any of these bills been paid?
Not yet.
How many stitches did you have?
2.
What was the total amount of your bills?
$6,700.
Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That should cover some of your medical bills. Now, can we have the next case, please?
This is case number 9 on the calendar in the matter of McKay versus Rodriguez.
22-year-old April McKay is suing Nicole Martinez's boyfriend, Edson Rodriguez, for assaulting her at the party in question.
Have the parties been sworn?
Yes, they have.
Okay. All right. Miss McKay, you were at the party. You were the third member of this triumvirate who went there.
Correct.
And it is your claim that Mr. Rodriguez assaulted you.
Correct.
According to the police, very uncooperative, Mr. Rodriguez.
Correct.
Why were you being uncooperative with the police?
He asked me to remain seated, and I stand up to get some water. That's why that was considered uncooperation.
What, you were dying for a drink?
Well, he asked me to remain seated, and I was upset because of the whole situation, and they just got into the house, and I went to get water. That was it.
You think that I believe that?
I think yeah.
No. How much did you have to drink that night,
I didn't
Mr.
drink
Rodriguez? At all?
At all.
So you tell me, Miss McKay, how he assaulted you.
Basically, it's from the start, just the way their case was earlier. We were there at the party for a while, enjoying our time. We got invited by some friends. Anyway, so I seen Sandra coming out, and this girl, don't remember. But anyway, she came out of the restroom. They started fighting. So I went over there to separate them. And I was trying to separate them as, so she came and tried to help me to separate Sandra and Nicole from fighting. That's when Edson came up to me and grabbed me and said, no, let them fight. Don't, just let them fight. So no, I was telling him I'm not going to let them fight. I'm going to go out and separate them. I want to leave. I'm not here to, have any fights against anybody. So I pulled him apart again. That's when he grabbed me by the hair and started punching me. He dragged me down to the floor and started socking me in my chest. Then, therefore, we both went to the hospital for that. While I was getting dragged down by his fist and he was hitting me on the chest, I heard Sandra screaming and I heard a beer bottle break. I heard screaming. That's when the cops arrived, and that's it. I don't know what happened after that.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, Your Honor, she's 100 pounds, 5 feet tall. If I will beat her up, she will be in the hospital for a couple of weeks.
Oh, you're a big macho guy.
And I know you understand that. Now, according to the police report, it says that 2 male guys were punching her in the stomach, and she just said that, and she didn't admit that. And I had that in writing according to a police report.
Is there another male there?
No, not that I know of.
Can I see a copy of your hospital record?
Sure.
And I had a police report.
There's that.
You were driving that night, Ms. McKay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have anything to drink that night?
No, Your Honor.
Go ahead, sir. I'm listening to you.
She declared, according to...
Don't tell me what she declared here. I'm asking you to talk to me. Did you hit her?
No, I don't.
Didn't put your hand on her?
Yeah, I did.
How?
I grabbed her hands so she wouldn't punch my girlfriend, and I was trying to control the situation. Then she fell down, and I didn't attack her at any time.
How did she get a chest contusion?
Well, that's a lie.
No, that's according to what the doctor says.
Yeah, she also said...
And that's according to what
Well,
the
she got involved in the fight when my girlfriend was fighting Sandra. I could have been back then.
So you mean when all 3 girls were involved in the fight, she could have gotten punched then?
Correct.
So you just pulled her away?
Just pulled her away, trying to control.
Did she fall?
Yes.
Tell me how she fell.
Right when I noticed she wasn't there anymore, I just turned around. I didn't look at her falling, right? It was like 10, 15 people outside trying to control the whole situation. Mm-hmm. Now, okay. Over there says that there were 2 guys attacking her, which now she declared that's not true.
Yeah, are you trying to tell me what I have to look at in order to evaluate this case?
No, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
I asked, just tell me what happened. You pulled her off her.
Pulled her off her, trying to control the situation.
And she fell. I'm not satisfied that Mr. Rodriguez punched you and assaulted you. I think he probably grabbed you and got you off her and you probably fell. But I think there was a whole lot of fighting going on there. And the only one who did something that was actionable was her. Because she knows that when she picked up that beer bottle, took that beer bottle that was in her hand and hit her over the head with it, she knew it was wrong. And she knew it was wrong because she had allowed this group to come into her home and then got angry when this young lady wouldn't leave as quickly as she wanted her to leave. She sort of acknowledges that even in her answer, lost her temper and lost her cool. And she can do that as long as she doesn't do it with a beer bottle. He had nothing to do with it. Your case against Mr. Rodriguez is dismissed. That's all. Thank you.
Please excuse me. Step out. Brooks. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Malafont. You are Miss Malafont. Who are you?
Miss Malafont. She's my mom.
Mother. Why don't you have a seat? How old are you?
17.
The defendant is your father.
Yes.
And according to your complaint, you needed a car. And your father agreed to help you out with getting a car. He put down the down payment on the car with the understanding that you would make the monthly payments and keep up with the insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I assume from your complaint that you followed through with your end.
Yes, I did.
And there came a point when he took back the car.
Yes.
When did he take back the car?
He repossessed the car on June 23rd, 2001.
And you say he had no basis to repossess the car, and you want all the monthly payments that you paid to a bank, I assume.
It was, yes, Home Financial Services.
For the time that you had the car?
Yes.
And that was
$1,440.
So you had the car, did you have the car in October?
Yes.
October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June.
Yes.
You had the car really 9 months.
Yes.
Your father says you did not follow through with your responsibility. As a matter of fact, you owe him a substantial amount for the car. So, tell me what your arrangement was with your father.
On October 12th, we went in there. We both decided that I would agree to be responsible for the vehicle. He paid the $500 down payment. We also purchased insurance, and he paid $500 to the person who rebuilt the engine. While the car was in the shop, he did pay one car payment, and we both agree on that. He paid the $500 down payment and one car payment for a
Why
week.
did he make the car payment?
Because at the time, I was unaware that he even made the car payment.
Well, you didn't make the car payment.
No. I was trying to work, and he had let me use his vehicle while mine was in the shop. I have a daughter, and I didn't exactly have all the money to pay for it. Because
So you didn't have the money, so he made the car payment in February?
Yes.
And what was the monthly payment?
It was $180 a month, but he only paid $170 that month.
Okay. Go ahead.
On May 1st, 2001, me and his wife had got into an argument. Words were exchanged. I said a couple of things, she said a couple of things, and then we started fighting. She headbutted me in the nose and broke my nose, and she hit me in the back of the neck with a picture frame. I moved out because they were on drugs very badly, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I didn't want my daughter to be around it, and I myself did not want to be around it. Me and him were still on good terms. We talked daily, and then probably 2 weeks after that, on May 16th, I got a message from him on my cell phone. I didn't answer the phone, but I listened to the message, and I didn't agree with the message at all. I have that recorded if you want to hear it.
I just want to know what the message said.
He said, if I leave her, what am I going to do about a woman? Are you going to help me out? Are you going to give me some?
That's not true, Your Honor.
I have the message if you want to hear it.
I don't have to listen to it. Go ahead.
I called the Department of Human Resources and spoke to someone named...
Where were you living at this time?
I was living with my mom. I guess he was mad because I called DHR on him about that, and he took the car from me.
Okay. Had you paid May's payment for the car?
Yes.
Okay, you have proof that you made
I have proof of all the payments, yes.
Okay, what about the insurance? Was that all part of the 180?
Uh-huh. And I also have a check, a copy of the check that Virgil wrote to the man who rebuilt the engine, stating that he did pay for that. I don't have all the receipts. I mean, I didn't expect for this to
All the
happen.
receipts for what?
For the car payments that I made. I have probably 4 of them, but I didn't keep them all. I didn't expect to be here in this situation right now.
So you only have proof of making 4 payments?
Virgil gave me that paper. He highlighted all the payments that I made, and he signed at the bottom of it.
Well, I see here there was 1 month when you made a payment of $90, and then you made a payment of $80.
That was, I would pay early sometimes because I would have the money at that time, and I decided to pay early sometimes.
No, you weren't paying early.
What day was that?
May 11th.
May 11th, I made a late payment, and they allowed me to they gave me 5 days of grace, I believe.
No. Instead of making a full car payment in May, You made a partial payment May 11th of $90.
Yes.
Then you made another payment on May 18th of $80.
Yes.
Okay, you say the payments are $180 a month, so 9 and 8 is 17, so that's $170. So you were $10 short.
Okay.
Okay. Then you don't make any payment in June, the beginning of June at all. You make a payment June 22nd in the amount of $80.
Yes.
That's not responsible. Ms. Malafont, I'm going to tell you why you have no basis for a lawsuit against your father. You have no basis for a lawsuit because you had this car for 9 months.
Yes.
And you say you made $1,440 worth of payments. That means that you paid $160 on average a month.
Okay.
You had the full use of a car for $160 a month for a period of 9 months.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes.
You can't rent a car for $160 a month.
I understand that
Good.
the car was in, that I should be responsible for the months that I had paid for the car, but I don't think that he had a good reason for repossessing it from me.
Well, I'm going to let him tell me, but you did not keep up your end of the bargain. If he co-signed for this for you, and you are a minor, which means they can't go after you at all.
Yes.
You can't make a contract with a minor. That has to do with your lawsuit, too, so. You did not fulfill even your moral end of the obligation because you did not make these payments on time, as you're supposed to a finance company. They don't want to, at the end of the month, when your payment is due in the beginning of the month, get a partial payment. And you didn't do that once, you did it more than once.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
17-year-old Tina Malenfant says her father, Walter Brooks, illegally repossessed her car.
Did you receive a call from the company in June?
I received a call that they did not have any indication of her having any liability insurance. Now, she only had collision. That's what was financed. But the state law, as of July 2000, said you had to have liability insurance. She never carried it. I always carried it. And she had an accident.
Had you discussed that with her?
I had discussed it with her before she moved out, that she needed to cover her insurance, that I wasn't going to cover it anymore. And she ignored it.
No, Your Honor, he didn't. He had canceled my insurance a long time before I moved out, and he never even notified me. And when the car, he had canceled it when the car was in the shop, actually. And when he told me about the car payment that he made when the car was in the shop, he said, and I'm not paying for your insurance anymore either. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll get my own insurance. And he said.
Did you ever do that?
I was going to. But
No, not going to. Did you ever do that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So he did have a discussion with you and told you back in February, it's your car, it's your responsibility, get the insurance.
Yes.
And you didn't do it. And you didn't make the February payment, and you only made a partial payment in June. So he had every right to take the car back and say, listen, I can't risk my own financial situation, put my own financial situation at risk because she's not doing the right thing.
Yes.
So you had every right to take back your car. So you have no case. Now, you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for the down payment that you put on the car, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm going to get through it. For the down payment that you put on the car, for the cost of repairing the engine, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For the payments that you made for her to bring the credit up to what it should be.
Correct.
You can't make a contract with a minor. Didn't anybody ever tell you that, even a minor who's your daughter?
Okay.
Who told you that?
Nobody.
But you know that.
Right.
And you didn't make this agreement with her mother
No.
on her behalf.
No.
Where's the car now?
I have it in my possession. It's at my house.
Are you using it?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't have insurance on it. I'm just using my truck.
Why don't you sell it?
I plan to. I just was waiting till this is over beforehand.
Fine, I suggest you sell it.
Okay.
Good. Counterclaim is dismissed. You used the car for 9 months?
Yes.
You had full service of the car for 9 months, with the exception of the time that you blew an engine on the car and it was in...
The engine was already, it wasn't...
October, November, December, January. You drove the car for 4 months before you had to bring it into the shop. Is that right?
The radiator was cracked in it when we got it back too.
You drove the car for 4
Yes,
months
yes.
before you had a problem. Now, on another note, do you speak to each other?
Me and her?
No, not her. Him.
No.
You don't speak to your father?
No. I have they were to issue a protective order against him if he contacted me anymore.
Well, that's too bad. How long had you lived with your father?
Almost a year.
And prior to that, you lived with your mother?
Yes.
Why did you move out of your mother's house?
There wasn't enough room. I have a daughter, like I said, and there
How
wasn't
old is your
enough.
daughter?
She's 1. There wasn't enough room for both of us to stay there, and it was very crowded.
Okay. I can't get into the basis of the protective order. It's really beyond this, so I can't make a judgment with regard to whether or not it's a good idea for you to speak to your father, not a good idea for you to speak to your father. Only the two of you know that. In any event, you had a good time with this car, you used it, I assume you used it for work, whatever. Next time you get financing for a car, it's not going to be through your dad. Are you 18?
No,
when are you
not
going to be
yet.
18?
I'll be 18 in March.
Okay. How are you getting around now?
My mom takes me.
That's
where I
good.
need to go.
Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't get the money that I really do deserve.
I guess it's a lesson that we both learned.
They're both very sick people, and something needs to be done about them.
Don't go buy the used cars for your kids.
I just don't plan on talking to them anymore.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Vincent Miller versus Crowell. Step forward, please.
20-year-old student Amber Vincent and her boyfriend Josh Miller are suing 24-year-old computer technician Roger Crowell for breaking her windshield with a softball.
Who was driving the car that day?
I was, Your Honor.
And whose car is it?
Mine, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, you're driving your car. It's a 1995 BMW, minding your own business, and all of a sudden you see a ball come towards the car, smashes your windshield. And it is your claim that the defendant, who was playing softball on that day, was at bat and responsible because he hit the ball that was responsible for your broken windshield.
Correct.
He says it wasn't him, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, once your windshield was smashed, tell me exactly what you did.
Well, first, I would like to point out, as I was on the decline of the hill that was parallel to Centennial Middle School, I actually noticed the ball players playing ball. And as I was driving, you know, I see, if my windshield wasn't there, I could have literally caught the ball with my hands. Shatters the windshield, bounces off. I don't know where it went. I pulled right in. And from that moment, the first person I saw was a woman in a van with a bunch of kids. She, in turn, was the coach's wife who was there and pointed out Mr. Kroll as the person who had hit in the ball. She said that she saw him hit the ball. She
Can't
heard
tell
it
me
hit
what she
something.
said. That's all hearsay.
Okay.
And it's not true either, Your Honor.
Well,
we're not talking about an intentional act here, sir. Okay. Do you understand? We're not talking about an intentional act. You weren't aiming, or whoever hit the ball wasn't aiming for a car. You were aiming for a home run, or whoever hit the ball was aiming for a home run. So you get on the field where they were playing ball.
Well,
and you have, just a second, and you have a discussion with somebody in a car. And how long did this discussion take?
I was still discussing stuff with her in and out of conversation until after the police had arrived and departed the scene.
Now, when you arrived, did you see who was at the plate?
Yes.
Hitting who?
It was Mr. Kroll.
And you pulled into the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Did it take you a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? How long did it take you to pull in?
30 seconds. I mean, it hit and the driveway was right there. I pulled in, parked the car. It was actually, I don't even remember if I left it. I think I left it even running when I got out of the car because I was just frantic.
You're telling me that when you pulled in, you saw the defendant at the plate?
Yes, he was holding the bat, standing at the plate.
That's
okay.
not true.
Shh. Don't say anything else until I ask you a question. Understood? Good. From where the person who was at bat is holding the bat and where your car was originally hit, is that in front of it? I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is, would have been a foul ball, or would that have been a home run?
It was, I asked who had the home run swing.
Just a second. So that would have been a home run.
Correct.
Now, I am not really a sports aficionado. However, am I correct, Bird, that if one hits a home run, what one does immediately is drop the bat and start running around the bases? You do that immediately.
Yeah.
As soon as the ball takes off.
Yeah.
Right?
In
You
anticipation.
see it go, and you start running.
That's right.
You get where I'm going?
Yes.
Just a minute. Okay. You get where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So, took you 30 seconds to get in. According to you, when you got there, he's standing poised.
Correct.
To bat.
Not poised, standing there holding the bat, almost in anticipation of my arrival. It was during softball practice.
No.
It wasn't
Okay.
a game.
No. Now, Mr. Crowell, I have a couple of questions for you. Would you do me a favor while I'm getting it? Would you just get the estimate of the windshield?
Sure.
I'm sure she has that as on the paper. Tell me about this league that you play with, sir.
We played in a county softball league. It was co-ed.
So you are part of a team.
Yes, I was the coach.
Okay.
I arranged the team and everything.
Fine. And how long has this group been playing together?
We started practicing in April.
Same group of guys and gals?
Yes.
How many are on the team?
At the time, there was probably 15.
Are there dues?
Yes, there were.
And what are the dues?
Well, it was $20 for each player for the players' fees, and then the team registration fee came out to be, if you had 15 people, $20 per person, and our sponsor paid the sponsor fee, the team registration dues.
Okay. You get where I'm going? I'm not sure you get where I'm going, so I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Because this is not really a very difficult case. I don't know whether you were at bat or whether you weren't at bat. It really is not relevant. You were the coach of the team, right? You put it together.
Yes.
Put the lead together. There is the question in my mind that the plaintiff's car was hit by a softball that somehow emanated from your team. Now, we have a totally innocent party, and that's this team over here. Totally innocent. They're driving along. And on the other side, we have some guys and gals who are playing softball, and certainly without intention, one of their members was responsible for a ball getting away. Who do you think should pay?
Well,
Take a deep breath before you answer that question, because we're talking here about responsibility. Not necessarily your individual responsibility, right, sir, but we're talking about baseball in a windshield, baseball on a baseball field.
I was willing to investigate the matter because we didn't know if the county would pay for it, since it was an organized practice and we're playing on their fields. So we wanted to look into that, and of course I was going to do that. There was also a gentleman that had been hitting before who had hit quite a few balls over the fence, and there was a couple...
From your league?
Yes. Yeah. None of them struck anything. None of them, they all bounced off the road, and this guy probably shouldn't have been hitting up there anyway because he's probably the best hitter on our team, but and being that the fence is so near the road.
Let's get on with it. Who do you think should pay for their broken windshield?
Not me.
Your team. Not necessarily you if you say you didn't hit a ball that far. And it's very possible that you didn't. And even the guy who was hitting before you, I'm certain didn't intend to cause any damage to anyone. But you got innocent people and you got the team responsible. So you take up a collection, you tell everybody, kick in $25, we're going to pay for the windshield. Period. End of discussion. Have an estimate here for $300.52. Judgment for the plaintiff. Get it from your team. That's all.
Sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Thomas, it is your claim that the defendant's son broke your son's nose.
Correct.
You want to tell me what happened?
Well, I was walking down the street because my friends said they were going to play football that day. None of them were out there. And then Tyra and Jatisse, the two girls that were like friends that lived down the street, and they were yelling out the window. And I didn't understand what they're saying. I was like, well, I'm gonna go home. Then Joe started coming to me, and he was like, what's up, what's up? And then he hit me in my nose. And then I said, I don't want to fight you, and then he hit me in my nose, and it started to bleed.
So were you alone at the time he came up to you?
Yes.
Okay, now let's come to you, Ms. Thomas. How did you find out about your son's nose?
Well, the young lady, Tyra, is one of the girls that was with him, came running up to my...
I thought you said you were alone.
But they were coming out the door at the time. So as he walked up to me, they were coming out the door.
So one of the girls came to your house?
Yes, and she came running up to the door saying, hurry, hurry, Austin's bleeding, he needs you down the street. So I went running down there, and I saw him with his head back like this. There was blood everywhere, all over his clothes, on the ground. And I ripped off my tank top and put it to his face, and I asked him, do you know who did this to you? And they said, it's Joe, and he's right around the corner playing basketball. I said, take me to him. Take me to him right now. And I said, so you're the one who broke my son's nose. And he said, I ain't got time for your drama, B. And started going off on me. Like I was bothering his game of basketball when he just broke my son's nose. I said, so what, you just are going to break my son's nose and act like it's nothing? He's like, you. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to stand out here and argue with a bunch of kids. So I went home, I picked up the phone, I called 911. The cops came out, took him home to his cousin. I had him delivered in a cop car.
Now I'll hear from you.
At first I was walking home from school, and then my best friend
asked me did I want to play basketball. So we was over his house playing basketball. His sister Tyra told him that some little boy around the corner was messing with her. So we went around the corner, and as was about to fight him, I stepped in the middle and I told him not to hit him. Then he was talking stuff, and he called
Who's he was talking stuff?
Austin.
Did you know him from before?
No, never seen this.
So what kind of stuff was he talking?
He was like, I'm not scared of him, I'm not scared of him. And then he called me a B, and then I just took off my jacket and I hit him twice.
Do you think that's okay?
Yeah, if I felt like if I wouldn't hit him, then he would have hit me.
But he didn't hit you.
I felt like he was about to.
What made you think he was about to hit you?
Because the way he looked at me.
The way he looked at you?
The way he looked at me.
Now, after you hit him twice in the nose, you went back to play basketball.
Yes.
And then his mother came up to you. She just told me that you cursed at her.
No.
Yes, you did.
Well, she was cussing at me. She actually threatened me.
Well, how did she threaten you?
She said she would get a 15 or 16-year-old on me, and she said she'll kill me. That's when she stepped down the street like she was going to hit me, but my best friend, he stepped in front of me and told her to go on because she's not hitting me.
You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
Were you arrested?
Well, taken home, yeah.
After you were taken home, did you have to appear in juvenile court?
No.
Why didn't you press charges against him?
I did press charges, Your Honor, but they were telling me even if I filed him and received a misdemeanor on him for the assault charges, the only pain and suffering or anything that I could get was $300.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about teaching him a lesson. How many times have you been in a police car?
Just twice.
When before that were you in a police car?
Some little kids was busting windows, and they mistakenly put me in the police car on accident, and it wasn't me.
It wasn't you?
No.
Let me see your bills.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yes.
You know, and also when Austin after he had broke his nose, he told my son, he said to everybody in the neighborhood, he kept saying, well, that's what the white boy gets. That's what the white boy gets, you know. And my son, granted, he is light-skinned, but I don't care what shade you are, you know what I mean? This isn't about what color you are. It's about violating my child.
Absolutely right.
So that was another thing, because they think he's a white boy, and he's not just a white boy.
No, he's a boy.
Right, exactly.
He's a boy. What?
I don't feel like it's a racial thing here because my son is not racist, not at all.
He may not be, but he certainly has a little bit of a violent tendency.
I mean, that's all kids is like that. When
No,
you're
all kids aren't like that.
This side, he was.
All kids aren't
he
like
was
that.
cursing too.
Cursing
So-
is one thing. Listen to me. Your son went up to him, came around the corner, came up to him, and hit him in the face because he didn't like the way he looked at him, according to him.
No.
He looked as if he might be going to hit him, so he hit him first, twice. But he went looking for him. He came around the corner, and before he even found out what was going on, I mean, I read his answer. His answer was he was protecting some little girl that he thought he was teasing. He was in a confrontation with another friend. That's a lot of baloney. He came around the corner, and he hit him twice. And he's responsible. He's responsible for his broken nose. He's responsible for all the medical bills, and he's responsible for pain and suffering. He's responsible for that.
I understand that.
What? You want to say something, sir?
Yes. Your Honor, when I received a phone call from my wife that the incident had taken place, I rushed home. During the time that my wife was filing a report, she had noticed that two of the young men that were at the scene were walking by snickering. And so I asked him to come here, and I asked him, I said, you know what, I want to know which one of you two were the one calling my wife out of her name. And they began to tell me that Joe is one of the kids in the neighborhood that he thinks he has to go for bad or whatnot. He has to prove something to himself. And that the girls that he accuses my son of making fun of, we have written testimonies from the young ladies. They warned Austin to run because they knew that Joe was going to go up to him and fight him for no reason at all. I asked the police officer to make sure his mother calls us. She wanted to know what happened. And she explained to me that, you know, it doesn't surprise her that her son, you know, might have did this, but she wanted to hear both. She wanted to hear both sides of the story. She is well aware that Joe is one way with her and another way out in the neighborhood, and she can't understand why he acts that way because her other children, her other young boys, don't act that way.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
10-year-old Austin Saffel says neighbor 12-year-old Joel Jackson punched him in the face and broke his nose. Joel says he thought Austin was going to hit him first.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, I spoke to her one time as Austin's mother. She informed me that she wants to hurry up and get the court situation over with. And I just hung up on her. I flat out hung up on her. You know, how are you going to call me and tell me that we need to hurry up and get this over with? Well, so would I, but I have to go to an ENT for my son's nose. His nose has to be broke now 2 times because he has a lump coming out of the side of his nose. You know, hello, this doesn't end for me just because I go to court.
So you have to do additional medical procedures other than the $2,059 that you've already spent.
Yes, it's $85 just for us to show our face into the ENT clinic.
Could you step up, please? I want to take a look at your nose. Where is it broken?
It's broke right down here, right in here.
Mm-hmm. You have any medical report in your file?
Yes, I do.
Can I see? Step back to your folks, please. Do you have any other report with regard to the procedure for re-breaking his nose and resetting it?
I asked them what it will cost for Austin's nose. They said every nose varies. Some noses run $1,000, some runs $500. They just don't know until they see it.
Well, right now you have about $2,100 in out-of-pocket expenses just for his medical visits.
Yes, and I have no insurance because my husband got a better paying job, and his insurance doesn't even kick in for 90 days. So this is, every time I've win, it's self-pay, self-pay. I mean, we work for a living.
Yes, we do.
Well, I'm glad that you're working.
I agree with that.
I'm glad that you're working. Mm-hmm. She's not going to have any of these expenses out of pocket. Mm-hmm. You had no right to hit him. Don't look up at the sky. You're just very, very lucky that they didn't pursue this matter in juvenile court because they probably wouldn't have put you away. But you would have had a record. How old are you?
12.
12. So you would have had a record at age 12. That's not very smart. How many brothers do you have?
2.
They ever been in jail?
No.
They nice boys?
Yes.
Good. So you have good examples at home. What happened to you?
Nothing.
Ever been suspended for fighting in school?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. How did I know that? How do you think I knew that?
I don't know.
Wasn't that a good question? Look, I'm only giving you your medical bills up until today, plus some additional costs that you incurred. But you may have to bring an additional suit once you have additional medical costs, because I can't anticipate what those medical bills are going to be. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I'm issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. It covers your bills until today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't appreciate her cussing out my son the way she did.
When you see your child bleeding on a street and he's left there and you're just going to protect your child, I would say that sometimes you say things that just is not of you, but out of, frustration and anger.
And now the next case.
All parties on Zavala versus Johnson. Step forward, please.
20-year-old salesperson Brooklyn Zavala is suing her sister-in-law, 23-year-old restaurant manager Tiana Johnson, for babysitting fees and damage to her vehicle.
Mrs. Zavala, the defendant is your sister-in-law.
Yes.
According to your complaint, you provided daycare services for your sister-in-law's children.
Yes.
Then she decided to move. You did provide childcare for a few days, for which you were not paid.
Correct.
And then on the day that your sister-in-law was moving, it is your claim that she damaged a car of yours.
True.
What was your arrangement with regard to the childcare?
I was to get paid $2.37 per hour.
How did you come to that figure?
Because that's what the state was allowing her to get. I was just to get the whole check from the Health and Welfare Office. I got a check for May, June, and July. And then in August, I watched them for 5 days.
Which 5 days in August?
2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Ms. Johnson, did you get a check from the state for those dates in August?
No, I did not.
Why?
Because they were taking me off that program at that time because I was moving. She was supposed to get a check. I have record right here that it got sent back to Health and Welfare.
Let me see.
From her caseworker. My caseworker told me that I was not getting a check for that month.
So it was returned.
Right.
So she did not, you're not claiming that she got the money and just didn't give it to you.
Right, I just didn't get paid.
Well, she's not going to pay you. You have to get your money from the state. That was your agreement.
They only pay a portion on that, so she would also have to pay on top of that.
Why? That wasn't your agreement.
Because
that wasn't your agreement, Miss Zavala.
True.
Your agreement was that whatever money she received from the state, you would get.
Right.
And you never got any additional monies in the months that you did watch the children.
True.
Right? So why would you expect additional monies in August?
I estimated it from $237 for each child per hour.
Do you understand what
Yes,
I'm saying to you?
I do.
I don't know what we're fighting about here for 5 days worth of daycare. If two people who are related to each other, except maybe the fight's about this damaged truck. So you want to tell me about the damaged truck?
Well, the morning of the 8th of August, we got a phone call saying we needed to come to Tiana's. Tiana had something to tell us. We were told she was leaving town because she was scared to death if her husband was going to kill her, which is her witness right now.
Go ahead.
Her brother and her also got in an argument, and because he was telling her that she shouldn't pick up and leave like that with 3 children.
Who should she leave the children with?
We were going to offer, or Sean and Christine, and then Delano and Amanda, which was also her brother and sister-in-law.
Okay. What happened when she left?
Well, we helped her pack, and a couple hours later, she just was leaving, wasn't watching where she was going, and backed into my car. She said sorry, didn't even get out of her van, and then left.
She was upset, I assume, right?
No, she was fine by then because we were just packing up and leaving. She was in a hurry to leave.
Why do you think she was in a hurry?
Because she had to meet with a couple people in Oregon that she was going with.
She said she had to leave because she was deathly afraid of her husband. You don't think that picking up and leaving and packing up very quickly and leaving with your 3 children, you're upset? I mean, I'm not giving...
That happened a month or 2 prior to her leaving. She was still going up and taking the kids up to his house.
Because he's their father.
Until 2 o'clock in the morning, and she's deathly afraid of him. These are the car estimates and pictures.
I also have a blue book value of the car as a trade-in and as retail value.
Well, you definitely hit her car.
She was parked at an angle right in my blind spot on a cul-de-sac, which you're supposed to be parked with the curve. She was parked straight out this way. And when I was backing out, I could not see her, and I hit her like this.
Okay. $900 worth of damage.
And the blue book value of the car as a trade-in is $375, and the retail value is $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a large amount for damage. It's almost as much as the car is worth.
So what do you think the right thing to do is?
Actually, 4 days before she filed this suit, I had told my brother that I was going to give them some money. And she has not tried to contact me, tried to resolve anything, to even try to work out a payment or anything.
Well, what is everybody so mad about?
I think she's mad because I left and she was out of a job.
No, because I went and got a job 2 weeks later.
All I heard that day that I was leaving was, what about the check? What about the check? No, I'm going to miss you or anything. It was all about the check.
No.
The money.
Wrong, because I was trying to talk her out of going. I was scared for the kids' welfare because the van wasn't going to make it to West Virginia.
Did it make it?
No. She left it on the side of a highway with all of their belongings in it, pretty much.
No, I didn't. I got the belongings there. My children were safe. My children were back safe.
Did the van die?
The transmission went out.
How did you get to your final destination?
With the rest of the party that I was traveling with. We had 3 different cars going.
Where were you going? Just
to West Virginia.
What?
I had some friends up there.
Who were the other people?
Supposed to stay there. Some cousins, longtime friends of the family.
Well, were they going to live too?
Mm-hmm.
You just decided to all leave at the same time to go to West Virginia to live?
Right. There was a lot of circumstances following that.
Well, just give it to me in 30 seconds or less, would you?
Okay. They were deciding to leave, so I went over there. They offered me to go with them, so I decided, I would
Where
go.
were you all going? I mean, were you going to a farmhouse someplace? Where were you going to live?
No. I have a really good friend that lives up there, and she offered for me to stay with her.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed there a matter of 2 months.
And then where did you come?
I had to come back to the state of Idaho.
Why?
For a custody hearing.
And then you reconciled with your husband?
Somewhat, yes.
What does somewhat mean?
We're working on the situation.
Do you live under the same roof?
No.
What?
Can I stand up?
Of course, if you want to speak.
Yeah, what I was told by his mother was that...
It's hearsay.
Well, even he admitted it. She came back down for that custody hearing plus a battery hearing.
Against him?
Against him, and then they were still together during that whole issue. They came back and they're still together now, from what I heard.
I guess.
And the whole thing with the car is when she was up in West Virginia, I talked to her, said you need to start making some payments. And that was like almost a year went by and nothing happened.
You owe them $900 to fix their car. With regard to the money for your 5 days of babysitting, I suggest that you take that up with the state. Okay. Do you understand? Yes. Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Mathias, you hired the defendant's firm to re-roof your home.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim that in the process of working in your home, they tortured your dog.
That's correct.
They entered your home without your permission, or someone entered your home without your permission. Nothing was taken, but you were forced to put new locks on the doors and windows. And you want the defendant to return the price of all the roofing materials that you paid for the house and for your aggravation.
Correct.
Okay. Defendant said his people didn't do anything and he should be paid for his work. I assume you were paid for your work, is that right?
No, I haven't been paid at all.
You haven't been paid at all?
No.
Okay. We'll see. What was the total cost of the job?
Total cost of the job after the second invoice was $7,597.
Can I see it, please? Did you give him any deposit?
No, ma'am.
So you gave him nothing?
No.
Did this price include the materials?
Yes, ma'am.
It did?
Yes, it did.
So you have paid for neither materials nor the roof?
I've paid for the materials, yes.
Who did you pay for the materials?
His supplier.
How much did you pay for his materials?
$2,400.
And is the material money that you want back?
Yes.
Okay. When were you supposed to pay him the balance?
I told him that I'd pay the balance after a person of the court told me to do so on good conscience. I cannot, after what happened.
Okay. Now, you were not at home when this work was done.
I arrived home at 3 o'clock and 2/3 of the job was complete.
You have, I assume, a witness who saw what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the witness? I assume you're the witness. Step up, please. Tell me your name.
My name's Karen Dick.
Are you a neighbor?
Yes, I am.
How far away from the plaintiff's house is your house?
They live directly across the street.
Would you tell me what you saw on that day?
Yeah, typically I get up in the morning and I prepare dinner for the kids. So I got up and I noticed out the window that we have over the sink that the neighbors were having their roof done. I went on about my business, and then as I'm looking out the window, I was at the sink doing something. I noticed there was a sort of a large dog. It wasn't a big dog. It was tall, but it wasn't too big. I didn't really recognize it. I've only been in the home with my boyfriend about 8 months, so I hadn't really met the neighbors. I've only said hello to them. I noticed the dog was on Joe's front lawn, kind of in the middle of about 5 gentlemen who it seemed like they were just kind of scurrying the dog. I didn't know if maybe the dog got out. They were concerned this dog's, interfering with their work, if they were nervous. A few minutes later, I came back to the sink. I now noticed 2 of the workers have hammers in their hand, and they're swinging at the dog. The gates open, so I realized that the workers must have let the dog out. So at first I think maybe they're just trying to intimidate the dog.
What kind of gate was it? Was it a fenced yard?
It's a fenced yard, yes.
And you saw that
it was open, yes.
Now, when you saw them swinging these hammers, none of the blows connected with the dog?
I did not see that, no.
Okay.
As I'm watching, though, the dog's showing no aggression, so that wasn't the issue. And the dog is kind of scurrying back, and it's sitting back on its back legs. So it was surrendering. They could have easily put it back. At this point, now they're playing a game. The hammers are getting closer to the heads. They're laughing. They're smiling. They're going to hit that dog. So I'm screaming hysterically at the top of my lungs, please stop. What are you doing? And they get my attention, so I'm standing there to make sure they understand I'm standing there watching this. At this point, the 2 men walk away, and the dog's still there. I go back into the home, and my boyfriend's mother, who's about 82, comes into the house, and I'm trying to explain to her, because her English isn't great, I'm trying to explain to her what's going on, and I'm looking out over her shoulder. At this point, I see one of the 2 gentlemen with a rope in his hand starting to do this, and I know what he's going to do. And I'm watching this, and before I can react, he's already got the dog by the 2 back legs. He's yanked the rope, and by yanking the rope so hard, he forced the dog to flip over on the back side, and from the left side of Joe's house all the way to the front side, to the far right side of Joe's house, through the street, not on the side, but through the street, he drugged the dog on the dog's back.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm fine.
When he did that to the dog, when he tied the dog's back legs, were they still right near the fenced-in yard?
No. Thank you. The gentleman that had the rope was standing in the street when he picked up the rope because he's walking down.
So the dog had moved?
The dog really hadn't really moved. The dog was still in the grass, from what I recall. He's still kind of on the grass. He hasn't really gone anywhere. The gentleman takes the rope, and he's walking this way. So he had gone down, I don't know if it's truck, I couldn't see from my window, but he was coming back. And when he came into my view, that's when he had the rope in his hand, and that's where he took the rope to the dog's legs. As he dragged the dog through the street, that's when I ran back outside, and I wanted to make my presence completely known that I'm watching this and I'm seeing who's doing this. Because he's tugged the rope so tight, there was no way for the dog to break free for quite some time.
How did the dog
Just by wiggling and wiggling and wiggling. At this point, the dog was able to run up to the front porch, and as I'm walking, because I'm moving this way, to see what's going on, the dog, I could see him burrow into the corner on the porch to just be left alone. The gentleman who had the rope walks up and kind of goes down and starts going, trying to get the dog to be nice. And I'm thinking, if you've done all this to the dog and you're not scared of the dog at this point, how could anyone evenly conceivably say that you were just intimidated by this dog and that's why you did any of this to get the dog back in the backyard? There was no intimidation by this dog. So I'm just standing there. I'm not going to leave until I can see this dog put back in the backyard. Eventually, the man does sit there. He pets with the dog, and he picks the dog up, and he does eventually put the dog in the backyard, close the door. I go in the house, and I don't know what to do. Again, I don't know the neighbors that well. I'm thinking, should I call the police? I don't want to stir something up, call the police, and then have a problem with the neighbors. So I'm thinking it's better for me to advise them first. I have to go to work, so I call my boyfriend, tell him what's going on, to please make sure that they're aware of what happened, to let him know when I come home from work, I will fill him in on the details. After I'd done that, I noticed the truck was open and I saw the phone number, so I called the number to see if I could talk to the owner of the company to tell him to please come out, and I would speak to him personally. When I called, the gentleman said that I'd have to leave my phone number, someone would have to call me back, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I figure it's better for me to let things be until I get home to bring this out. And then that evening, that's when I went over and spoke to the Mathiases and told them what I had seen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Monica and Joseph Mathias claim employees of contractor Glenn Matheson tortured their dog. The Mathiases say the workers hogtied their pet.
You also claim, Mr. Mathias, that the house was open.
Yes, it was.
Do you have a witness to that?
I have a witness from our mail carrier that said that she delivered...
No, you don't have a witness. If you don't
no, you're correct. I do not have a witness. I have a letter from the mail carrier. Okay, the mail carrier stated to me...
You can't tell me what the mail carrier stated.
Okay.
You can't give me a letter. I have to see a witness testify. You see, testimony is powerful. I can make a determination as to credibility, etc. There's no question that there was no property taken from your house.
I don't believe there was, no.
Good. You weren't there that day,
No, I wasn't.
so you don't know what happened.
Correct. Just from what my foreman, Bernie, just told me.
Okay. What's Bernie's last name?
Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez, would you step up, please? You were supervising these men that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you watching them at all times?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see what happened with the dog?
Yes, I was there too. I was, when the dog came out,
When the dog came out of where?
From the yard.
How did the dog get out of the yard?
One of my workers go inside to collect the electric power extension cord, and the dog, he leave the door open, and then that's when the dog come out.
So one of your workers allowed the dog to get out?
Right.
Were you told, sir, that there would be a dog there?
Paperwork that I provide suggests that they keep the dog at a neighbor's house or inside the house.
That's not what I asked
No,
you.
I didn't know there was a dog there.
Okay. Go ahead. So one of your workers let the dog out?
So the dog come out, and I start playing on the front yard, and I was talking to him by the phone, and so I saw the dog running,
Running in the front yard?
On the front yard, in and out. And then, so I'm scared because I said, well, maybe the dog is gonna go away. So I tell my workers. So two workers come out from the roof to try to put the dog inside, back in the yard. But I never saw the No, nobody hit the dog. Nobody touched the dog.
No, there was no testimony that anybody hit the dog with the hammer.
Yeah,
There was testimony that they were motioning to the dog with the hammer. Did you see the dog being tied up by the back legs?
No.
Well, that happened because there is no question in my mind that this lady is telling me the truth. Any question in your mind that the neighbor is telling me the truth, sir?
I have no idea.
Well, I know, if you have no idea, I'm going to tell you that this lady is telling me 100% truthfully that the dog was tied up by the legs and pulled in the street. And if your worker, Bernie, didn't see that, then he didn't see everything. There isn't a reason in the world that this neighbor, who doesn't know these people from a hole in the wall, would come to court and lie for her and pick up the phone and call your company to tell your company.
I've got records that she didn't call.
Oh.
I get a log of every call that comes into my office.
That somebody records.
Correct.
So nobody recorded. Just a second.
No, either name or number. They don't care. They'll record a message.
She
Whatever
wasn't
the message
leaving her
is.
name and number.
Correct. She left a message. I show no message.
That's your problem.
Well,
That's your problem.
It states that she didn't call me.
She called you.
She didn't.
Oh, yes, she did.
I don't have record of it. Every call that comes into my office
No, listen to me,
gets
sir.
recorded.
Listen to me carefully. Don't get defensive. You weren't there. Fortunately, you weren't responsible for this. But I can think of no reason why this woman, who is new to the neighborhood, would be so upset about what she saw to go outside, get the number from your truck, come inside, place a call, speak to somebody who said to her, according to her, which I believe 100%, leave me your number, somebody will call you back. She said, I'm not leaving my number, thank you very much, and she hangs up, and nobody records it in your log.
She said that they took a message to get me out to the job site.
No, that's not what she said. That's what you wanted to hear.
That's what I
What
thought.
she said was she wanted somebody to come to the job site, but they said to her, give me your name and your telephone number, and I'll have someone call you back. And she did not want to do that.
But she requested to leave a message. That message would have been taken and recorded
I didn't
and
say
sent to me.
Just to say, I heard what you said.
Correct.
You're not hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing.
I believe she called.
I don't believe she called.
Then that's your problem. Fortunately, I'm in charge. I don't know if Bernie is lying intentionally or if he didn't see everything or if he wasn't watching what was going on there. You think these people are trying to scam you out of a roof?
I believe they're trying quite a bit. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No. I think that the men that you hired did not do the right thing that day, and they were very angry. Whether or not it translates into them suing you for $5,000, I don't know. But there's no question in my mind, after listening to Bernie and listening to the neighbor, that she is telling me the truth. Bernie, two things. He either did not see everything or he's lying. Because he did not put the dog back in the pen.
I've never known
He
Bernie
did
to
not
lie.
put the dog back in the pen, Bernie. She says somebody came to the front door, one of the men came to the front door and ultimately picked up the dog and put it back into the yard after they got finished doing the stupidity that they were doing to this dog.
I was told the dog was dragged back into the garage. Getting a lot of conflicting stories.
Not
from
to
this
me.
side. Of course not.
Not to me.
I have.
Not to me.
I've received a number of different stories. And the dog doesn't get taken to the vet till 2.5 days, 3 days later after I tell him, no, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm not going to take your word or your neighbor's word. I'm not going to give you financial benefit for this. I said, what do you want? He says, I want money from you. I own your company. I want a free roof. I said, I'm not going to give you a free roof. I'll sleep on it. He sleeps on it, comes back and says, I don't want to pay your labors. You know they're lying to you. You know anyone will lie in order to get paid. Well, to this day, they haven't been paid.
Two people attached to your company did the wrong thing that day with the dog.
It wasn't proven. You have
It's
one
proof.
witness.
Just a second.
You've got
It's
the
proven
vet who says there's nothing wrong with the
Just a
dog.
second. I didn't say that the dog was injured, sir. The dog was maltreated. The dog was
She could have
maltreated.
misconstrued what was going on in some parts, yes.
No. This lady didn't come out twice screaming because she was misconstruing what was going on.
She was concerned about how scared she was. Call the police. The police could have been there and taken care of everything. Everything would have been solved right then and there.
It's a possibility. She could have done that. She
But
could
she
have called the
didn't.
police.
So there was
Give me a reason. Think of a reason.
Why she didn't call the police?
No, think of a reason why she would lie. I can think of a reason why Bernie would lie.
Why is that?
Because he was responsible. He was the foreman on the job. He was responsible, ultimately, for the performance of his men and
He's
what they
performed
did.
jobs
I'm
for me for 12 years.
I'm speaking. He was responsible, ultimately, for the performance. And if he came to you and said to you, I did, in fact, see two of my guys who didn't know what they were doing, who were just sort of fooling around with the dog, and one did put a lasso around the legs, but meant to put it around the head to get it back into the house, or he didn't see everything, or he figured, say nothing. I can think of a reason for him to lie. I can't think of a reason for her to lie.
And I can't think of a reason for him to lie.
Well, I can. So, and that's the only thing that counts. So, you have to prove damages to me, sir. What were your damages? So far, you got a $7,500 roof for nothing.
Yes, ma'am. The hardware replacement for the door locks and everything.
Listen to me. I'm not entertaining your claim for any door locks.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they didn't do anything with regard to going into your house.
Okay, I felt in good conscience I should pay the materials for the roof. I'm not going to pay him until an officer of the court tells me to pay him for the labor.
Well, that's not...
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
The pet clinic was $31.
Let me see the vet reports.
And all the material has not been paid.
I have the receipt for
Material
that,
from
Your Honor.
ALL has been paid, but not material from my yard. Not all material came from ALL.
Your countersuit is for $4,500 for defamation of character and lost wages. The defamation of character, I assume, has to do with these people saying things about your business.
Correct. Contacting the Better Business Bureau, threatening to contact the newspaper, and degrading my company.
They are entitled to do that.
Your Honor, he's also put a lien on my house, I believe.
I have every right to lien the house. I haven't been paid for the
You're
for a job.
absolutely right. Is this lawsuit supposed to determine that?
No.
So then why am I hearing your countersuit?
It's not for the lien on the house.
Well, what is it for?
It's for loss of wages for my men for the day, loss
what
of
day?
work for today, for being here.
For today?
Correct.
Forget it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I believe that they have a perfectly valid claim against you because I believe that the people who represent your company did the wrong thing that day. First, they negligently let the dog out of the yard. That, at least, we know from Bernie. And after that, Bernie told them to go and take care of it. Then one of them dragged the dog across the property, not even the property, not even the grass, but into the street,
With
in
no
the gravel.
damages to the dog.
What?
No injury to the dog. After all this horrendous treatment of the animal.
412 on the calendar in the matter of Gilbert versus Von Lossberg. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Gilbert, you were a tenant of the defendants for approximately a year and a half. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Did you have a lease?
I believe it was a month-to-month lease, yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
You did not have a long-term lease. You were there month to month.
That's correct.
Your claim is that the defendant evicted you,
That's correct.
and in addition to evicting you, she destroyed some of your property, and she kept some of your security deposit. You also want her to pay for storage of your stuff, moving costs. So let's start with this. You did not have a lease.
That's correct.
You claim she evicted you.
Yes, ma'am.
She says that you voluntarily left. Let's get to that.
Item A that I have in evidence is a 30-day notice to quit that was taped to my door the day August 2nd, which is the day that most of this occurred.
You want to tell me briefly what happened that day?
I enjoy very much working in my yard. On this morning, I had finished the night before, just coming home after 3 months of work. I'm home for only 7 or 8 days, and I'm gone another 3 months. Did the gardening, and a stranger walked into the front yard. I picked up my hose that was watering some plants, and I asked him what he was doing. I went outside. I was inside when I asked him this. I went outside and asked him what he was doing, and was told to my face that he was my new gardener and that he was Mrs. Vaughn's nephew. And I explained that I'd done most of the yard work and that all he really needed to do today was cut the yard. He turned around and ran next door, immediately followed by Mrs. Vaughn and a good number of her other family members. And I explained that these plants were mine and I could do with as I wish. She immediately turned around and took one of the plants and stripped it right down to its bare stalks. That picture I have here, this is a former palm tree that Mrs. Vaughn at the time took and stripped of its branches. At that point, I was so angry, Your Honor, the only thing that I could think to do was to go inside the house and call the police, and that's what I did.
Was that the first time you had had disputes with the defendant?
No, actually, Your Honor, I ordered Media One to install the cable service and a phone service and combine them with a DSL line into my house here. And immediately the next day, Mrs. Vaughn informed me that she did not like Media One as a company and did not approve of them coming to install this on her house without my obtaining her permission.
Mr. Gilbert, let me stop you for a moment, please, sir. You know what it is to be a month-to-month tenant. Month-to-month tenant means that she can give you this 30-day notice to leave, and she doesn't have to give you any reason.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So you are not entitled to moving costs, storage costs of your stuff, any other damages. You're not entitled to that. Is her house immediately next door to yours?
It was, yes.
Well, where you used to live. It
Yes.
still is. It didn't
Yes.
float away in the
Yes.
rains. It's still there. All right. She doesn't want somebody living next to her who calls the police on her because she destroys a tree. Right? Once, by the way, you put this tree in the ground, this tree does not become yours.
If I pay rent on a property that I maintain until I leave that property, is the property not mine, Your Honor?
No, the property is not yours, sir. The property always is hers. And while it's not nice to do this to a tree, I can understand why this lady didn't want you living next door after the police were called even once, even though you may have felt that you had cause because she stripped the branches of this tree. So she's entitled to evict you, so you're not entitled to those damages. However, you also have a claim, sir, for withholding your security deposit. How much security deposit did she withhold?
She withheld $779.80, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Miss Vaughn? You admit that you withheld some security deposit, is that right?
I have a hearing problem.
Well, I can't shout any louder.
I'm sorry.
I
heard you say something about it.
Did you withhold security deposit?
He had an $1,100 security deposit. When he moved out, I spent a portion of that to clean the apartment because when he left another person in that house that was sleeping in the living room. When I entered the place after he left, the sink was littered with beer cans, whiskey bottles, and whatever.
Show
and
me
I spent
pictures.
money for cleaning that.
Show me pictures.
I didn't take a picture. I'm
You
sorry.
got a problem.
But I refunded him $300 and some out of the security deposit.
You have to show me, Miss Vaughn. Do you hear me carefully? You have to show me exactly what you spent.
I think
Let
I
me
do
see.
have the receipts here, Your
Let
Honor.
me see. You can show it.
He'll have to assist me.
Your Honor, I can maybe save you some time. I have a copy of both the receipt
Let me
and
see.
the
We had the
deposit
receipt.
refund form she sent me.
I have to excuse you, but you're 80 years old.
Your Honor, I claim that receipt to be a company that doesn't exist.
Oh, right there.
That the handwriting on it matches the form.
Just a second. What's the name of the company that repaired the doorbell, painted and cleaned, and put in new locks?
I don't know what the name of the company is.
Now, what's the name of the company?
It doesn't have a heading on it. Don't have it on there. Otherwise, my
Miss Vaughn.
Yes.
Either I don't believe that you did all this stuff, or I believe that somebody else did it for you, like a family member. You are not entitled to put in new locks. You're entitled to clean if you show me that the place was filthy. That was $70. You have two different bills here
Yes,
for
I do.
painting, one for $350 and one for $380. But nowhere does it tell me who did the painting.
Yes, Your Honor. I
Yeah,
understand that.
there's no proof.
That's right.
And you have no pictures to show me of what this place looked like.
No, I didn't think of
Who are you?
I'm her witness, her daughter.
Come on. Do you live with your mother?
No. I live on one side of my mother, and he lived on the other side of
Yes.
my mother. And my daughter lived 2 doors down.
I don't care
from-
where everybody lived.
All
Did
right.
you go into the house on the day he left?
Yes.
Did you take pictures of the house on the day he left?
My daughter did. I didn't.
Fine. Where are the pictures?
She has since moved to Pomona, and
That's not my problem. You don't have the pictures.
Before he moved, she told me that she
I don't
has-
care what. Listen to
All
me.
right.
Listen to me.
All right. I was
You
told-
can't tell me what anybody else told
Okay.
you. You can tell
When
me.
we went in-
Pay careful attention. Listen, I want you to start receiving. Did you see anything else? Look at me. Did you see?
Yes.
What else did you see?
He had put up some shelves in the utility porch in the back.
Yes.
That weren't there before he rented.
Yes.
And instead of washing the walls or to make things right, he either spot painted or spot cleaned, because when you look down the angle of the wall, you could see splotches where he had either spot painted or spot cleaned.
Sounds to me as if he was a very good tenant.
And
listen to me. You want to bring paid bills from somebody that's reputable, that puts their name on a receipt. You can do that. This is nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Can I say something?
Sure.
When I was served with a subpoena to appear in court, I did not, he said he was suing me for $3,000 with absolutely no reason of what his intentions were of collecting this money. I could have gotten the company, the man that did the work, to come in today had I known how to defend myself. But I had absolutely no idea of what this man is suing me for.
Okay. He was suing you for $3,000. Initially, he's not going to get $3,000, and I told him that. But he is going to get his security deposit back.
No, he got it all back.
No, he didn't, and he's going to get it back because there is no basis for you to withhold the vast majority of his security deposit.
Can I show these to the court as part of the damages?
Let me see. I asked you if you had pictures. You said no. What are you showing me?
That's what he ordered Media One without my permission, and he drilled holes in the floor, the side of the wall, and the building as it stands today needs to be painted and repaired.
Oh, goodness gracious me, madam. Looks to me as if he maintained your house in
And I have the name.
Quiet and listen. It looks to me as if he maintained your home in pristine condition. Anybody that maintains the outside of this house the way he did not maintain the inside like a pig pen. What?
Your Honor, he was running a business outside of a residential home, and that's why I called Media One, and I asked him why he had run all the wires into the house, drilled through the floor, drilled through the walls, as the pictures will indicate.
Show me where you paid to have the holes refilled.
They haven't.
No,
Good.
I'm going to have a lawsuit. I intend to sue him for that. This will follow up.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $779, which is the amount of the security that was withheld from you, sir. She had no right to withhold your money. You are getting your security deposit back. Goodbye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
As long as he had his way, he was a good tenant. But don't cross him, because then immediately he thought that I was his enemy.
Never live next door to your landlady, ever.
And now the next case.
All parties are Oswebu versus Bell. Step forward, please.
38-year-old registered nurse Yvette Oswebu is suing 38-year-old receptionist Lisa Bell for burning her scalp during the process of relaxing her hair.
Miss Oswebu?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, about a year ago, the defendant did a hair procedure on you, and according to you, burned your scalp and your hair fell out.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to what I read in your complaint, this procedure was done in the defendant's kitchen.
In her mother's kitchen.
Why?
That was the place that she advised me to come to have my hair done.
What were you doing to your hair?
She was relaxing, putting a relaxer in my hair.
That was not. Shh. How did you find her?
I met the defendant through her sister. Miss Pete told me that her sister was a licensed beautician, and that she had graduated from beauty school and was looking to build her clientele up.
So you went to her mother's house and she started to put this product on your head?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when she put the product on your head?
It began to burn.
No, you're...
And when she got ready to wash the chemical out, she took me into the kitchen because I told her that it was burning rather badly. But the sink was full of dishes, and so she had to clean the sink out, and she had to get the faucet to work. And she made the comment to her mother, "That's why I don't like to do hair over here, because your faucet is messed up." So my scalp felt like it was on fire. I mean, I was literally standing on one leg saying, "Please hurry."
Do you think it was very smart to go to somebody's house to have your hair relaxed?
Ma'am, in the African American community, sometimes people have shops set up in their home.
Yes, but then it looks like a beauty shop. It doesn't look like a kitchen with dishes in the sink.
Well, she had the chemical on my hair by that time when I realized that she was going to have to go into the kitchen.
Okay, what happened to your hair after this process was done?
I have pictures for it, ma'am.
Can I see it, please?
There's a before and after.
Now, this happened a year ago. What took you so long?
I tried contacting Miss Bell on several occasions, and she agreed. She said, well, my instructor told me she don't see how you sit in the chair if I was burning you that bad. I said, well, if you recall correctly, I told you you were burning me and asked you to wash it out.
So what did you want her to do?
I wanted her to assist in paying for treatment for my hair.
Did you have treatments?
Yes, ma'am.
How much were the treatments?
I had several treatments. This gentleman, my hairstylist here, did my hair.
Afterwards?
Right.
Step up, please. Tell me your name.
Henry Jerome Clay.
Can you describe what you saw when you saw her?
When Miss Osuebo came to me, she made an appointment to get a relaxer. But after consulting with her and examining her scalp and everything, I told her there was no way I could do a relaxer.
She wanted another relaxer?
Well, new growth had started growing out, and black women, they mostly want their hair to look good, you know, and she wanted to try and get the situation better. But my suggestion to her was get some treatments first. Start taking care of her scalp, get her scalp back healthy, and then cut all her hair off and start all over again.
So what kind of treatments did you provide for her?
I gave her a deep penetrating conditioner for her scalp and her hair as well. The hair that she previously had on there during the relaxer procedure, it was breaking off because it had burned all the way through the cortex of her hair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Miss Bell, I have a couple of questions for you. You ready?
Yes.
At the time that you took care of the plaintiff, were you a licensed beautician?
No, I was not.
So why do you think that you were allowed to work on strangers?
Well, I didn't think I had right to, but she knew that I was not licensed. She knew that I had just graduated from beautician school.
You were told that she had graduated from beautician school, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But you had not yet passed the licensing exam.
Correct.
Well, a lay person, that means a person who's not in the business, wouldn't know that you had to pass a licensing exam before you could work on somebody. She was told that you had graduate of beautician school and therefore assumed that you could work on her. Now, you're not allowed to work on her, right?
Right.
You must be her sister?
Yes.
I know that you want to tell me something, so I'm going to let you tell me what you want to tell me. Step up here. What? You're Miss P.
Yes, I am. When I met Yvette in graduate school, I had specifically told her that my sister had just graduated from school. She had not passed her, she had not even taken her licensure exam.
You told her that?
Yes, I did.
Did she tell you that?
No, ma'am.
I don't think so. Sit down. No. You don't say that to somebody. Try my sister. She's graduated from school, but she hasn't even taken her test yet. She's not licensed yet.
Yvette has specifically told me that her niece used to do her hair.
You want to let your sister-in-law, your sister, your mother give you a home perm. That's one thing. I once gave a home perm to my best friend. It's amazing that we're still best friends 50 years later. She could have used a relaxer. But we were only 12, you see, at the time. But you don't work on strangers. Did you ever get your license?
No, I didn't go back to get my license.
Why not?
I took my test, but I did not. I passed my practical, but
you failed the other part.
Right.
So you failed the test.
The written exam.
You failed the test.
Yes.
You were never licensed.
Yes.
Well, that's why you don't work on somebody. Miss Bell, what kind of work are you doing now, madam?
No, I'm a receptionist.
Good. Good. You had no right to work on her. You placed her at risk, and you are responsible for all of the damage that you caused. The plaintiff is suing for $3,000. Is that right?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of the request, $3,000. Mrs. Urino, you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes.
You built your home with the expectation of being able to run a business out of your home.
Yes.
And that business was selling used cars.
Yes, ma'am.
You invested a substantial amount of money building driveways and paving areas in order to comply with city regulations.
Yes, ma'am.
Thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
And when you applied for your permit to sell these used cars from your property, according to you, the defendant, as well as other neighbors, objected and were very vocal about their opposition to you selling used cars from your house, as a result of which you were denied a permit. And that started the trouble.
Your Honor, we weren't denied. We were approved first.
And then denied because of him and the neighbors.
So first you were approved, and then because of the opposition, denied.
One guy showed up and appealed it.
And who was that?
Another neighbor.
Another neighbor.
Another neighbor.
Good.
Yes. He's next.
Now that started the difficulty with you and the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that you were particularly angry about is that this particular defendant runs a carpet cleaning business from his home.
Yes, ma'am.
So you say, how can he object to my business when he runs a business out of his home?
Yes, ma'am.
And then all kinds of things started. You claimed that he was dumping some stuff from his carpet cleaning business into the town sewers, and you were taking photographs of that, and arguments ensued, and you want damages because of the constant harassment by the defendants. Now, who's going to speak? You
I'll
are.
speak.
I assumed you would.
Yes.
So, Mrs. Urena, I'd like you to tell me, what is the basis for your lawsuit?
Okay, the basis for our lawsuit is harassment.
Give me the date.
The date is June 7th.
Okay, what happened on June 7th?
He came over to our property. We had taken a picture of him because it was like about 11:30, quarter to midnight. It was the night that we got denied.
It was the night that you were denied your permit?
Yes.
So what did you do?
We were out riding around because we were upset. Okay.
No, they were out.
I'll get to you in a second. All right. So you were very upset.
Yes,
Permit's
we were
denied.
upset. So we went to the store, we're coming home, and we see all this commotion behind our home. This man has run his business for 2 years. We never said a word, never complained. Well, we had it up to here. We went around the corner. I snapped 2 pictures of his. He had 5 employees out there, his 11-year-old daughter, 3 of his vans, a tow truck. I've got a photo of it. He had them all out there in the front yard, making all kinds of racket. So, snapped the 2 pictures, didn't say a word to anybody, went back to my house around the block. He comes skidding around the corner so fast. He starts cussing at my husband. He didn't get out in the beginning. He just had the window rolled down. So he started cussing. My husband got upset because they were cussing at each other, right? So he gets out of the van, and I thought they were going to fight. So I'm backing up towards the house. Meanwhile, I had my camera in my hand. I'm like this, you know. So I back up. He gets out of the van, and he's saying, "You ever come over my house?" He says, "On my street," he said, "I'll blow your heads off." I mean, but he said the word. So I'm looking at him. So anyway, so I thought they were, shut up.
Shh.
Up, sorry. Excuse me.
You'll have a turn.
All right.
Go ahead.
So we were standing there. He gets out of the van. He starts.
Well, he's already out of the
he's out
van.
of
They're cursing at each. Listen to me,
they're
Miss
cursing.
Urena.
Okay.
They're out of the van, and they're both cursing at each other.
Right. So now I thought they were going to fight. And all he did was just stand there and kept yelling. So I snapped 2 pictures, which are the pictures I have here, showing my husband in the van and him angry, going away from my property because he was leaving. And then he skids back around the corner. Sure enough, half hour later, here come the police, tick, 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 at my door. We welcomed him in, explained to them what happened. They told my husband, "We're going to write you a citation." My husband says, "I'm not signing anything."
Just a second.
Okay.
What were they writing your husband a citation for?
They said that Ray Long told them that my husband punched in the door of his van.
And your husband said what?
My husband said, "I am not going to sign anything because I didn't do any damage to your van."
Right.
To the van. And he asked to see the van, and the police officer said no. They said, "Wait till the next day, and then you can see the van."
So they wanted him to sign an acknowledgement that he received the citation.
Right.
And your husband refused to do that, so what happened to him?
They put him in handcuffs in my living room, took him out for about now this all happened before the ticket was written.
I don't care.
Okay.
Listen, that's between you and the police department.
Right.
The idea was they wanted to give him a ticket, He had a sign for it. Your husband said, I'm not signing anything. They said, oh, yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
They put him in handcuffs. Put your hand down. Your wife's not letting you speak yet.
Okay.
They took him outside, and they kept him outside. You blame him for that.
Yes, the officer went back around the corner, and then with him wrote the citation, and he signed it.
Right, of course, because your husband wouldn't sign the ticket.
Okay, he did sign the ticket. My husband did sign it.
Eventually.
Actually, the
when they came back.
Mr. Urena, if you had signed the citation when the officer had given it to you, the officer would have left your house. Is that right?
Yes. No,
of
ma'am.
course. Oh, yes, he would have. Would have
The
said, you have to
citation wasn't
respond to
written
this?
Ma'am,
It wasn't there.
Can I speak now? Actually, they weren't writing the citation. They came over for me to sign it. They said that he was going to
Write the citation.
That he was citing me, not the police officer.
Let me read you from your complaint. When my husband refused to sign the ticket, he was placed in handcuffs and held for 45 minutes.
Yes, that was my, yes, okay.
That's what you said?
Yes, that's what I
that's
said.
what happened. All right, what's next?
All the charges were dismissed against my husband because I took pictures of the van, dated pictures from the 7th through the 14th. There was no damage on that van. He had 2 pictures that he showed the judge that showed damage to the van. When he left my property, there was no damage on that van. So I don't know who damaged it, but it wasn't us. And all charges were dismissed. I've got that right here. And also he put he got all the neighbors to lie for him.
Don't say he got neighbors to lie unless you have witnesses here.
I have
You
proof.
can't. No.
Timesheets?
Unless you have witnesses here, you can't say he got people to lie for him. All right, what's the next harassment?
Okay, and we had put in also, because he was complaining about our property, saying that because we are Mexican, that we are running a chop shop, and our car lot was supposed to be like a front to cover up for a drug ring.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Pauline and Richard Ureno say neighbor Raymond Long lied under oath, causing them to be denied a business permit.
Show me where he said that.
He said it verbally. He wouldn't put it in writing.
Where did he say it verbally?
He said it at the public response office.
Just a minute. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Were you present?
No.
Then you can't tell me that. That's hearsay.
Okay.
All the neighbors say that, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Show me a neighbor.
The neighbors aren't here.
Right.
Okay, so just the constant harassment. I've got pictures of police in front of my house that when they served, the pictures when the police came to serve us for the order of protection. I mean, these things that were things on the internet.
Just 1 second. Who filed for an order of protection?
He did. That's the affidavit with the order of protection right here, where he states, and I can verify.
This is his affidavit for an order of protection.
His affidavit.
That I will see.
Okay.
He accused me of taking pictures of his daughter. I didn't even know he had a daughter.
This is my timesheets to prove where I was on those nights.
I didn't even know this man had a wife. The whole time we seen this
we never
man
see him hardly.
behind us, we seen him up by himself in a house. Okay, I didn't know this man was married. I got kids, teenagers. That I got 3 teenagers, and he's accusing me or my wife. We're not even sure which one.
Of his daughter.
That we were taking pictures of his daughter when we don't even know. We didn't even know that he had a daughter, and I don't know what he really meant by that either. So he did nothing but lie on everything.
All right. Now, what happened with the order of protection? Did you receive an order of protection, sir?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Can I see?
It was a temporary order of protection for 30 days until the trial.
Well, was the trial completed?
Yes, it was.
And what
they
happened?
eventually did drop the case.
Okay.
I actually brought the order of protection itself.
Can I see it?
We got 2 citations, Your Honor. One was dismissed, and one was
eliminated.
Eliminated. In other words, we didn't have to go to court. They just called us on the phone one day, and they said it was eliminated.
Okay. Now
we had this problem with this.
Let's take the first basis for your suit here today, which is that he conspired with other neighbors to deny you an opportunity to earn a living from your home by complaining to the zoning board or whoever issues a permit, thereby causing them to reverse their original order, granting you a permit.
Right.
They have an absolute right to do that.
Yes.
Whether he did it or not. if somebody lives in a residential community and feels as if one of their neighbors is doing something that is going to devalue their property or impede their safety.
To complain, Your Honor, but not to
Not
lie.
to lie.
Not
Just
to
a
lie.
second.
And
Just
put
a
it
second.
down on paper and sign.
Just a second. I haven't seen a lie. And if you want to show me a lie...
I'll show you a lie. It's
Let
in
me-
your hands.
What?
The affidavit there that is with Justice Court that he filed, that he just told you he filed.
I'm not talking about the order of protection, madam. I'm talking about your business, which really started this whole problem.
Right.
Show me where he lied with regard to his complaint.
He wouldn't put it in writing.
Then you have no proof that he lied with regard to his complaint that he didn't want you to sell used cars out of the front yard of your home.
Now, can I say something else?
No, you
Please?
have to answer my question, not say something else.
Okay.
You have no proof that he lied.
Right, can I show you the area that we live in?
Show me the area.
Okay, this is the area where we live. There are homes. Here, that one, this one. So there's really no complaint for him.
We built there, Your Honor, for one purpose.
We got 7 lanes of highway in front of us.
To start a business there, okay? That's the purpose we built there. And everything's up to commercial code. We went and tried to...
Then what you do is you have to appeal. That has nothing to do with your neighbors. Where is your home on this street?
No,
Hold on, I've got mine.
that's
Mine
the
is
back
right
of
here.
it.
This
That's
is
the
mine.
back of it.
This is mine.
I've got their
Two-story
home.
house.
Right here.
With all, they sell cars anyway.
Oh, now you're accusing us of doing
Shop, I don't
something?
want to hear.
Liar.
This is not over. We're going back again.
See, this is another threat. He threatens me all the time.
Absolutely, I can see
All the
that.
time.
You got a hot head.
Yeah.
Man, he's threatened me.
Just a minute. Listen, I want to tell you something. I, living in that community, could understand why some people would be disturbed by having your private house with all of these old used cars in front of them in the parking lot. He has a right to complain that he doesn't like the way this looks in his community. You have a right to bring it through the administrative process. What you did was you got really angry.
Angry.
And what you did, you got really angry. And it was, I assume, vented at Mr. Long.
Yes.
Because Mr. Long also ran a business out of his house.
Right.
All right.
Bottom line, Your Honor, he's jealous. That's the
Of
bottom
us.
line.
He's
okay?
jealous of us.
He's
Just
just
a
plain
second.
jealous.
Bottom line is, you have no lawsuit.
I know we don't have a lawsuit.
So what are you doing here for?
Well, because he put us through all of this. I mean,
We've been
he
going-
won't stop.
we've been
He
going
doesn't
through him
stop.
on
He
this
would
for about
stop.
a year.
Listen to me. Whatever happened that night, you see, you don't have to say a word. Yet. Maybe never. What happened that night was you were angry.
Your Honor.
Shut quiet. You got a hot head.
You want to see a lie? I'll show you a lie. The ticket, it says that there was a hole in the van. You show me a hole in the van. Where's a hole in that van? My husband never punched a hole in his van. That is a lie.
Did the
He
police
damaged
return?
it.
Just quiet. Did the police return to your home that evening?
Yes.
Did you, in fact, show them any damage to the van?
Yes, I did.
What did you show them? Can I see it, please?
Your Honor,
Yes.
the damage to the van is long gone. It was a malicious destruction of property that the city prosecutor found enough evidence to pursue. It was dropped. I let it go. It's $250. I don't even care about it anymore. I just would like the Uranians to leave me alone.
Your Honor.
How did... Quiet. Tell me what happened.
As they had been doing for about a month before, coming by weekly, and I have the events all in writing, but weekly, taking pictures of everything that I do. I was getting
Stop
tired.
flipping pages.
I was getting tired of it. And this was basically the last straw, 12 o'clock at night. I have a problem with one of my vans that gets towed home. They jump out of bed and drive over and start snapping pictures right there in front of my property.
Okay.
And it's annoying.
So you went back, you were
I went
hot
over
too.
to talk to them. From the second I drove up, Mr. Urena was in my face. And in the passenger door, looking through, I had the window down. And yes, the conversation got heated, and that's when he punched the door. He was in such a rage, he might not even remember punching the door. Bottom line is, I don't even care about the dent anymore.
You just want to be left alone.
Just leave me alone.
Your Honor, now can I say something? I can prove right here that he's lying with that picture.
Go ahead.
These pictures were dated His picture is not dated, okay? These pictures were taken 3 days after he claimed that there was a damage.
7 days,
okay?
14th.
Now, he claimed that I punched that van, okay? There was no, if you look at that picture, I mean, I'm not a body man, and I'm not an attorney, okay? But I can tell you this, there's not a punch with my fist on that van. That's what he claimed.
He has nothing in his hand.
That's what he claimed, okay? This is the picture. We took the picture 3 days later, and there was no damage to that van.
What do you think, he did it himself?
Yes,
I don't know.
Just a second. You think the police wrote out a ticket? Listen to me.
We don't know,
You
ma'am.
think-
We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
You didn't let me finish.
Wait.
Okay.
Hothead.
Okay.
Hothead.
I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah,
Okay.
We both are.
Oh, sure you are.
Yeah.
You're a hothead.
Both of us.
Well, just look at the evidence, ma'am. That's all you gotta see, and that tells you who's lying and who's not lying.
No, it doesn't. And there's no date on his pictures. Mine are dated.
Mine are dated.
Up to the 14th,
I don't know
7
what
days
the
after.
police did.
We're going to find out when we get home.
Hey.
Yes.
No, ma'am. We're not.
You can change a date.
See, it's never going to end. It's never
You
going to
can
end.
change
No, it
a
won't.
date on a camera.
My originals are dated.
You're not listening to me.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Your complaint was that he caused your husband to be handcuffed and held. Your husband caused himself to be handcuffed and held because your husband refused to sign the ticket. They said, hands together, we're taking you into custody. You were humiliated in front of your wife, maybe your family, maybe your children. That's your fault. But I'm going to tell you something. If you're going to spend your time in a vendetta against this man and your other neighbors, you're going to diminish the quality of your lives and theirs. He's not moving. I am sorry that you invested your money anticipating that you could have a business there, finding that you can't have a business there.
No,
and
we can't. We
spending
are C1. We are zone C1. Yes, ma'am, we can.
You can't have this kind of
That kind of
business there.
Right.
So you have a frustration. Get up!
Yeah, this is case number 283 on the calendar, the matter of House versus Sparks. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. You folks have seats, please.
Mr. House, according to your complaint, you have a son whose name is Paul.
Yes, I do.
And the defendant has several children.
Yes.
One of those children is a young girl. What is her name?
Vanessa.
And Paul and Vanessa, who is not here, are friends.
Right, they were.
According to what I've read, your son was at home.
Yes.
And he wasn't supposed to have any company.
Right.
And Vanessa was there.
Vanessa wasn't there. The boys were there.
Her brothers came over. And you believe they stole money from you.
Correct.
And you found this out. You went over to the defendant's home.
Correct.
When you got to the defendant's home, the boys came back from a shopping spree at the local department store.
They had $100 worth of toys sitting there in a bag.
Well, you called the police at some point. Police came over and had a family conference. Is that right?
With my part of the family. The houses were not involved in that part.
And at that conference, you agreed to reimburse Mrs. House
Yes.
for the stolen money. How much did you agree to reimburse her?
I was going to pay back $600.
And you did, in fact, make some payments on that.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And then you stopped.
Yes.
Now, Miss House, what makes you think that the boys, his boys, stole your money?
Simple thing of it is that when he was supposed to come over, I went ahead and I said, I found out who got into this money. They said, yeah, we did.
Who said we did?
One of the boys.
Which boy?
The oldest one.
Who's the oldest? Step up.
And said, yes, I had your money, and we're having fun with it.
And he said this in front of you?
On the phone.
Talking to you?
Yes.
Is that right?
No, I didn't.
What did you say?
When she called my house and asked if we had her money, we told her that we didn't know what happened to the money. First we lied to her, then we told her the truth.
First you lied to her?
Yes.
What did you tell her when you lied to her?
We didn't have her money.
And then you decided to tell her the truth?
Yes.
So let's hear the truth, starting from you and your brother. Which brother?
Both of them.
Both of them. Went over to Paul's house.
No.
You never went to Paul's house?
He was at our house. He was at our house with my sister. We walked to his house.
So you did go to his house?
Yeah, but he was at our house first.
Fine, he was at your house first. Nothing got stolen at your house, right?
Not that I know of.
And then you went back to his house?
Yes.
Why?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Well, let's try to think hard. What did you leave your house for? Your sister was home at your house?
Yes.
So Vanessa was home?
Yes.
And they're friends? Yes. Vanessa and Paul. So I want you to think back really hard. Why did you go back to Paul's house?
I think it was to get some clothes.
What do you mean you think?
That's what we went there to get, is to get him some clothes.
Why did all three of you have to accompany him to get clothes?
He asked if we'd go with him.
Step up next to your mother. So you went back to his house?
Yes.
And what happened when you got there?
We were sitting on the couch, and then we asked if we could have something to drink. He said, go ahead, and we walked into the kitchen, and we're going through the refrigerator, and he opened one of the doors, and he grabbed a screwdriver out of the drawer, and he went to his mom's room and popped open the door, and we went inside, and then my little brother went around the bed, and he saw a box on the floor. My little brother asked what was in the box. He told us that his mom keeps their money in there. So he asked if we wanted to see it, and both my little brothers said yes, and he popped it open, and he got money out, and then he spread it around.
Spread it around how?
He gave us each amounts of money, like $100, $200.
How much did he give you?
He gave me $200.
How much did he give you?
He gave me like 200, but like I got some more money, like from like them and Paul, and I ended up with like 500.
So you ended up with 500, and you ended up with 200?
Yes.
How much did you end up with?
200.
That's $900, right?
Yes.
What'd you do with it?
We went back to my house. First we went to Circle K and we bought some stuff like candy, and he bought some roses for my sister. We went to my house and he gave the roses to my sister, and they did their kissing stuff. And then we all went to Kmart's.
And?
We bought stuff then.
Where's the stuff that you bought at Kmart?
They took some of the stuff to return it, and we didn't have none of the receipts. They went to try to return it.
You didn't have any receipts?
No, we got rid of them.
What'd you do with the money?
We spent the money that we had.
You didn't spend all $900 at Kmart.
Not all of it. Some of it that I kept, I had it hidden, and my dad went in my room and he got it. He went through my room and found it, and he gave it back to the houses.
Well, you only had $200.
Yes.
And is that the $200 that you gave back?
I did return $200 back to the houses.
Well, what about the others? They had another $700. What'd you do about finding that money?
I didn't actually really know about that money until I heard from the houses. All I knew about, when Paul came over with the money, all I saw was $200.
Well, now you know. Because your answer, Mr. Sparks, says, my children didn't steal anything, and I don't believe we owe them anything. But they did steal. Well, when was the first time you knew that they stole? Today?
When the houses came over and told me that there was $1,500 missing, they had brought Paul with them.
Okay.
And Paul's story to all of us was that the house got burglarized, and
everybody lied to cover themselves up.
Yes, ma'am.
But what I don't understand is, if you made an agreement with the police to pay them back, why didn't you pay them back?
I was on unemployment and I could not afford it.
Your boys hid the money in the house. Are you telling me you didn't get it from them?
All I recovered was $200.
Where's the money?
We gave it back.
To whom?
To them.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, because he had $200 hid.
You just told me you had $500.
Yeah, and I spent some of that. And we had some money hid in the room. And we gave it back to them.
No, he got the money from your older brother. $200 only. And where's the money that you had? You still have it hidden?
I spent.
You spent it all. On what?
We all spent it on just toys and stuff.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Paul, you knew it was the wrong thing to go into your mother's room, didn't you?
They forced me to. I knew they had a knife right in their pocket. I beat my dad so he can call the cops so they won't try to stab me or anything.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Karen House claims 14-year-old Tyler Sparks, 10-year-old Nicholas Sparks, and 13-year-old Nick Greenland forced her autistic son Paul to steal money from her home. Karen says the boy's father, Marshall Sparks, won't take responsibility for their crime.
Mr. Sparks, you have to pay him back the money. I mean, you say I was on unemployment, that I could understand, but here you say my children didn't steal anything. They did.
I believe the money would have gotten stolen whether my children were there or not. The houses have told me that this is not something that Paul has not done before.
So what? What kind of a lesson is that? So you say because... Look, let me try to draw an analogy for you. I mean, are you serious with that response as a responsible parent? Let's say you pass by a store and the proprietor of the store has forgotten to lock the door. And there are things in there that you would like. A little stereo set maybe, a clock radio, maybe a small...
The slap came so fast I didn't have time to react. My glasses went flying, shattering on the elegant ballroom floor as 130 guests watched in absolute silence. My cheek burned, but the pain in my chest was far worse. Juliet, my daughter-in-law, had just slapped me on her wedding day because I refused tow hand over the keys to my apartment. That's what you get for being so selfish. She screamed at me in front of Fevrion. A woman your age doesn't need so much space. The silence that followed was deafening. No one moved to help me as I crouched down trembling to pick up my broken glasses. Some guests looked away, uncomfortable. Others whispered among themselves, but no one, absolutely no one, dared to defend the poor old mother-in-law who had just been publicly humiliated. My son, Ethan, stood motionless, his gaze fixed on the floor as if I were invisible. "You're not welcome here anymore," Juliet continued, smoothing her pristine wedding gown. "Ethan and I need our privacy to start a new life. Your apartment would be perfect for us while we shop for something better." Her words were pure venom. For months, I had endured her condescending comments about my worn-out clothes, my old car, my simple life. But this had crossed a line that should never have been touched. I rose slowly, feeling all eyes on me like sharp daggers. Tears streamed down my face, but inside something had changed forever. That slap wasn't just a physical blow. It was the final straw. For years, I had kept a low profile, living with humility and discretion. I had secrets no one, not even my own son, knew. Memories of the last few months began to bombard my mind as I slowly walked toward the exit. I remembered when Juliet first came to my apartment 2 years ago. Her face fell when she saw my modest home, my old furniture, my small kitchen. "Seriously, this is where Ethan's mom lives." She had asked him, her voice just loud enough for me to hear. From that moment on, every visit had been a silent torture. Aura Ushold moved to a smaller place. She had told me 3 months ago during a family dinner. "At your age, you can't maintain a big apartment. Besides, Ethan and I are thinking of having kids soon. We'll need more space." Her fake smile didn't fool anyone except my son, who seemed to lose his personality whenever she spoke, acting like a puppet on a string. The humiliations had escalated gradually. First, it was the comments about my clothes. "Aurora, don't you have anything more modern to wear?" Then, it was a boot me car. "That car is so old. It's dangerous for you to drive that." Next, it was my part-time job at the local flower shop. "I don't understand why a woman your age is still working instead of relaxing." Each phrase was a small poisoned dagger stabbing at my self-esteem. My name is Aurora Hughes. I am 68 years old, and all my life I have been a woman who prefers discretion over ostentation. I work at a small flower shop 3 days a week. I drive a 10-year-old car. I buy my clothes at discount stores. To the outside world, especially to Juliet, I am just a middle-class widow living on a fixed income. But that's exactly the image I've carefully cultivated for decades. What none of those people looking at me with pity knew was that my life had been completely different before my husband passed. My husband, Robert, had not been the office worker everyone believed. We had made a conscious decision to live modestly, to keep our true wealth a secret, to protect our family's privacy in a way that I now understood had been prophetic. As I walked out of the ballroom, the guests' conversations followed me like a toxic cloud. "Poor thing. She looks so fragile," whispered Juliet's aunt. "The bride is right. That woman can't take care of herself anymore," added Ethan's cousin. "She'll be in a retirement home, not living alone." Another guest commented with false compassion. Each word was like acid pouring on open wounds. The cool temperature of the ballroom's air conditioning contrasted sharply with the suffocating heat in my chest. My hands trembled as I fumbled for my cell phone in my worn black purse. A purse I had as for 5 years, not because I couldn't afford a new one, but because I had learned to value practicality over appearances, something my daughter-in-law would clearly never understand. I dialed a number I knew by heart, a number I hadn't used in over a year because I had naively hoped it would never be necessary. Carlos, it's Aroa. I need you to come to the Royal Oaks Ballroom immediately. Yes, right now. Bring the documents you know about. It's time for them to know the truth. My voice trembled, but there was a firmness in it I hadn't felt in a long time. Are you sure, Mrs. Hughes? Carlos asked with his professional but concerned voice. Once we do this, there's no turning back. I glanced back at the ballroom one last time, where I could see Juliet laughing with her friends, likely telling them how she had put her useless mother-in-law in her place. Ethan was by her side, smiling weakly, showing not a single ounce of remorse for what he had just witnessed. Completely sure, I replied. 30 minutes, Carlos? No more. I hung up the phone and walked toward my car with determined steps. For the first time in years, I was going to drop the mask I had used to protect my family. For the first time, they were going to meet the real Aurora Hughes. And when that happened, when reality hit their perfect fake worlds, they wouldn't understand the true meaning of the word regret. The parking lot was quiet, lit by streetlights that cast long shadows between the cars. I sat in my old sedan and waited 30 minutes for their lives to change forever. 30 minutes for them to discover. They had made the biggest mistake of their lives by humiliating the woman who had secretly been taking care of them more than they could ever imagine. While I waited in my car, memories of how I had reached this moment began to flood my mind like an unstoppable avalanche. It had all started exactly 2.5 years ago, when Nathan came to my apartment with that nervous smile I knew so well from when he was a boy. Mom, I want you to meet Samin, very special, he had told me. And there she was, Juliet, with her perfectly styled hair, her designer clothes, and that smile that didn't reach her eyes. From the very first minute, I knew something wasn't right. The way she looked at my apartment, evaluating every corner with thinly veiled disdain, told me everything I needed to know about her intentions. How cozy! She had murmured as she looked at my secondhand furniture and my sun-faded curtains. Her tone suggested the opposite. Ethan, completely blinded by what he believed was love, didn't toss the condescension in her voice. That first dinner had been a silent disaster. Juliet barely touched the food I had lovingly prepared, claiming she was watching her figure. When I asked her about her family, she gave evasive answers, but not before asking me about my financial situation with a curiosity that I found alarming. And how do you manage on a widow's pension, Aurora? It must be hard to get by on so little money, she had said with fake concern. What Juliet didn't know was that I had been observing her as much as she had been observing me. Over the next few months, I began to notice patterns that put me on high alert. Every time they visited my apartment, she would make comments about how outdated everything was, about how I deserved something better in my golden years. But her eyes always lingered on the details that really mattered. The prime location of the building, the panoramic view from my balcony, the size of the rooms. One day, while Ethan was in the bathroom, I heard her speaking softly on the phone in my kitchen. Yes, Mom. His mom's apartment is in a super expensive area. If I can get her to move to a smaller place, we could stay here until we have our own place. She's so naive, she probably even thanked us for helping her with the transition. Her words cut through me like a knife, but I maintained my composure when she returned to the living room, feigning innocence. From that moment on, every interaction with Juliet became a carefully orchestrated performance on both our parts. She played the concerned daughter-in-law, worried about her mother-in-law's well-being, while I pretended to be the vulnerable old woman who needed guidance. But inside, I was gathering information, observing her moves, understanding her true motivations. It was like a game of chess where we both thought we were winning. The following months brought a gradual escalation in her attempts at manipulation. First, there were the subtle suggestions. Aurora, I've seen some lovely apartments for people your age with all-inclusive services and no maintenance worries. Then came the more direct pressures. You can't keep living alone at your age. It's dangerous. What if you fall and no one finds out for days? Each argument was designed to make me feel incompetent and helpless. Ethan, my own son, Baganto, echoed the same phrases like a trained parrot. Mom, Juliet is right. Maybe it would be better for you to consider moving to a more manageable place. Seeing him gradually transform into Fat Woman's puppet was more painful than any direct insult. The son I had raised with so much love and sacrifice now saw me as an obstacle to his happiness. That psychological campaign intensified after they announced their engagement. Visits became more frequent but also more tense. Juliet had started bringing real estate magazines and brochures for senior communities. I'm just exploring options for you, Aurora. I want to make sure you have the best quality of life possible, she would say, spreading the materials on my coffee table as if it were a business negotiation. But I had been doing my own research. One afternoon, when they went out to run wedding errands, I decided to call an old friend who worked in real estate. Amelia, I need you to investigate something for me. I told her there's a couple who are very interested in my apartment, and I want to know more about their real financial situation. What I discovered chilled me to the bone. Juliet and Ethan were neck-deep in debt. The wedding they were planning cost more than $50,000, completely financed with credit cards and personal loans. The apartment they were renting was on the verge of eviction for non-payment. The luxury cars they drove were financed with payments they couldn't afford. Their lifestyle was affecade, built on suffocating debt. Everything started to make sense. The rush to get married, the insistence that time move, the constant comments about my economic vulnerability. It wasn't love that had united this couple. It was the desperate need to find a solution to their financial problems. And my apartment, located in one of the most exclusive areas of the city, was their lifeline. The revelation hit me like a slap to the soul. My son, the boy I had raised with values of honesty and hard work, had chosen the easy path of manipulation and deceit. He had allowed an ambitious woman to convince him to see his own mother as a resource to be exploited instead of a person to be loved and respected. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, their attempts became more aggressive. Aura, you can't keep being so selfish, Juliet had said to me just 3 days before the ceremony. Ethan and I have sacrificed so much for this marriage. The least you can do is help us with housing. Her words no longer even wore the mask of fake concern. It was a direct demand disguised as a family favor. That night, I had made a decision that would change everything. I called Carlos, my financial advisor, and the only man I had completely trusted since my husband Robert's death. Carlos, I need you to prepare some documents. It's possible I'll very soon have to reveal information I've kept secret for years. His voice had become serious immediately. Mrs. Hughes, are you sure this is the right time? He had warned me with the wisdom of someone who had handled my affairs for more than a decade. Once this information is public, you can't take it back. The consequences could be devastating for family relationships. But I had already made up my mind. The family I had tried to protect with my silence had chosen to betray me. And no sitting in my car in the ballroom parking lot, waiting for Carlos to arrive with the documents that would change everything, I realized the moment of truth had come. 25 more minutes, and Juliet, Ethan, and Dell, those guests who had looked at me with pity, would discover who Aurora Hughes really was. 25 more minutes, and their perfect worlds built on lies and greed would crumble like sandcastles. The night breeze rustled the tree leaves around the parking lot, creating dancing shadows under the lights. It was strangely poetic that on such a beautiful night, so many illusions were about to die forever. 20 minutes had passed since my call to Carlos, and every second felt like an eternity. From my car, I could see the golden lights of the ballroom, hear the cheerful music and laughter spilling out of the open windows. It was surreal to think that in just a few minutes, that celebration would turn into a nightmare for the main players. I closed my eyes and let the most painful memories of the last few months flood my mind. I needed to remember exactly why I had reached this point of no return. The biggest humiliation had happened just 2 weeks before the wedding, during what? Juliet had called an important family meeting. She had arrived at my apartment accompanied not only by Ethan, but also by her parents. A perfectly planned ambush. Aurora, we want to talk to you about your future. Juliet's mother, an haughty woman who looked at me as if I were a bothersome insect, had begun. We believe it's time for you to make responsible decisions about your life, continued Juliet's father, a burly man who had surveyed my apartment with the eyes of an appraiser rating a property. At your age, living alone in such a big place is not only unnecessary, but dangerous. What if you have a medical emergency and no one finds out for days? Their words were rehearsed, to perfecto be spontaneous. Ethan had remained silent throughout the conversation, nodding occasionally like a well-trained puppet. Seeing him there, sitting next to a family that treated me like an obstacle. It's like watching the son I had raised die before my eyes. Mom, he finally said in a voice I no longer recognized. They're right. Juliet and I have been talking, and we think it would be better for everyone if you moved to a place more appropriate for your age. Appropriate for my age, I repeated, feeling the anger begin to boil in City. And who gets to decide what's appropriate for me? You. Juliet's mother exchanged a knowing look with her husband, as if my words confirmed something they had already discussed at Aurora. We understand this can be difficult to accept, but you must think about what's best for Ethan and Juliet. What's best for them? I murmured, beginning to understand the true dimension of the conspiracy that had been woven behind my back. And I suppose my apartment would be perfect for them to start their married life, right? The awkward silence that followed my question was all the answer I needed. They had planned every detail of this conversation, every argument, every psychological pressure. Juliet took control at that moment, deploying her full arsenal of emotional manipulation. Aurora, it's not just about the apartment, it's about your well-being. We've been doing research, and we found a wonderful residence for people your age. It has 24-hour medical services, social activities, prepared meals. You could make friends with people who understand what you're going through. Her fake smile made me nauseous. What I'm going through? I asked Fignon in confusion. And what exactly do you think I'm going through, Juliet? She looked at Ethan for support before answering. Well, loneliness, financial uncertainty, the fear of not being able to take care of yourself. It's normal at your age, Aurora. You don't have to be ashamed of needing help. The audacity of this 28-year-old woman telling me what was normal at my age left me speechless for a moment. But then I saw something in her eyes that chilled me. The absolute certainty that she had a right to my life, my home, my decisions. To her, I was no longer a person with autonomy, but an obstacle Tobe removed with as little resistance as possible. We've run the numbers, Juliet's father continued, pulling out a folder they had clearly prepared in advance. The cost of the residence would have approximately $2,500 a month. With the sale of your apartment, you'd have Vino money to cover it for many years, and there would still be some left over too. Well, to help Ethan and Juliet with their initial marriage expenses. There it was, the naked raw truth. It wasn't about my well-being or my safety. It was about money. It was about converting my home into cash to finance their unsustainable lifestyle. And if I refuse, I asked, although I already knew the answer. Aurora, Ethan said, his voice sounding rehearsed. We hope it won't be necessary to take more drastic measures. But if your mental health deteriorates to the point that you can't make rational decisions, the implicit threat was crystal clear if I didn't cooperate voluntarily. They would seek legal ways to declare me incompetent. They had done their research. They had planned, they had prepared the ground to take everything I owned by force if necessary. The son I had raised with so much love was sitting right there, allowing strangers to threaten his own mother. That night, after they left with my firm refusal, I cried for the first time in years. No, out of sadness, but for the definitive death of the illusions I had held about my family. I had called Carlos Samadiali. I need you to investigate something urgently, I had told him through tears. I want to know exactly what the real financial situation is for my son and his fiancée. Everything, debts, income, liabilities, everything. The results of that investigation had been devastating. Ethan earned $45,000 annually as a sales manager, but had debts of more than $80,000 on credit cards. Juliet worked part-time as a knowledge consultant, making maybe $4,000 a year, but spent as if she had an executive salary. Together, they owed more than $120,000, not counting the loans they had taken out for the wedding. The apartment they rented for $2,000 a month was 3 months behind on payments. The cars they drove were financed with payments that took up 60% of their combined income. Their main credit card was maxed out, and they had started using cash advances to pay other debts. They were in a financial freefall, and my apartment represented their only hope of salvation. But there was a thing else in Carlos's report that had completely broken my heart. For the past 6 months, Ethan had been regularly calling banks and insurance companies about loans against his elderly mother's property. He had been asking about legal procedures to obtain financial power of attorney over senior citizens. My own son had been planning my systematic dispossession for months. The most painful information has come at the end of the report. According to a private investigator Carlos had hired, Juliet had been telling her friends that she had sacrificed herself by getting engaged to an older, less attractive man. His mother had valuable properties and no competitive heirs to her. Marrying Ethan wasn't love. It was a strategic investment in my estate. That revelation had been the final straw. For weeks, I had considered simply revealing my true financial situation to them, thinking that maybe the shock would make them reconsider their behavior. But after reading that report, I understood that it wasn't about money or desperation. It was a Buddha pure, calculated greed that had corrupted my son until he was unrecognizable. The days leading up to the wedding had been torture. Every phone call from Ethan was a new pressure to reconsider my position. Every visit from Juliet included poisonous comments about my stubbornness and selfishness. They had started to treat me as if I were already a senile old woman whose opinions didn't matter. The night before the wedding, Ethan had made his last attempt. "Mom, tomorrow is the most important day of my life. Please don't ruin it by being difficult. Juliet just wants what's best for all Ofus." His words had been the final confirmation that I had lost my son forever. The man who was getting married the next day was no longer the boy I had raised with so much love and sacrifice. And now, sitting in my car waiting for Carlos, I realized that everything had led to this inevitable moment. It wasn't about revenge or cruelty. It was about justice. It was about showing them the consequences of their actions. It was about teaching them that some lines should never have been crossed. 15 more minutes and everything would change forever. My hands trembled as I dialed the number for Joseph, my neighbor from the apartment next door. A 70-year-old man who had been a silent witness to all tense visits of the last few months. "Joseph, it's Aurora. I need to ask you for a very important favor," I said, my voice shaking. "Could you go to my apartment and bring me the brown folder from the second drawer of my desk?" "Yes, right now." It's urgent. Joseph had been like a brother to me since Robert passed away, and I knew I could trust him without him asking questions. While I waited, I remembered the conversation I had with Joseph just a week earlier. He had witnessed from his balcony when Juliet arrived with a real estate appraiser without notifying me. "Aurora, that girl brought a man with a briefcase who was measuring your apartment from the outside," he had told me with obvious concern in his voice. When they saw me, they left quickly. I didn't like what's happening at all. Joseph had been the first to notice the subtle changes in Ethan's behavior over the last few months. "Your son doesn't greet me like he used to," he had observed. He used to stay and chat with him when he came to visit. Now he rushes in and out as if he's ashamed of something. His words had confirmed what me heart already knew. I had lost my son long before the slap that night. That folder I had asked Joseph for contained documents no one in my family had ever seen. Bank certificates, proper titles, investment records that Robert and I had kept secret for decades. Documents that proved the poor widow living on a modest pension was actually a woman with enough resources to change lives with a single decision. 10 minutes later, Joseph appeared in the parking lot with the folder in his hands. "Ora, what's going on?" "You look very upset," he asked as he handed me the documents. "It has to do with Ethan's wedding." I explained briefly what had happened in the ballroom, and I saw his face harden with every detail. "That woman is a viper," he muttered. "I always knew it." "Joseph, in a few minutes, a man named Carlos will arrive. When you see him, tell him I'm waiting for him here," I asked. "And Joseph, after tonight, many things are going to change. I want you to know you have always been like family to me." His eyes filled with tears as Hannah did. "You're family to me, too, Aurora. Do what you have to do." As Joseph returned to the building, I opened the folder and began to review documents I hadn't looked at in months. The first was a bank statement showing a balance of $5,400,000 in an investment account. The second was the property title for a downtown office building that generated monthly rent of $50,000. The third was the deed to a beach house I had bought as an investment 10 years ago. Robert had been a genius at investments, starting with a small import business and turning it into Azalent empire. Together, we had made the decision to live modestly to protect our privacy and our family's security. Visible wealth attracts problems. Robert used to say invisible wealth gives you power. I never imagined I would have to use that power against my own son. Each document in that folder represented years of hard work and smart decisions. The flower shop where I worked 3 days a week wasn't because I needed the money, but because I liked to stay active and connected to the community. The old car he drove wasn't due to economic limitations, but because I had learned that unnecessary ostentation only brings sprobles. My apartment, the one Juliet so coveted, was actually the least valuable property in my portfolio. I had bought it not for its economic value, but for the memories it held. It was where Robert and I had spent our last years together, where we had planned our future, where he had passed away in my arms after a brave battle with cancer. But there was something else in that folder that would change everything for the last 3 years, since my son had started having financial problems, I had been secretly paying many of his debts. The credit card payments he thought came from a work bonus were actually coming out of my account. The special discount on his rent that he had negotiated with his landlord was money I transferred monthly. Without Ethan knowing, I had been subsidizing his irresponsibility for years. The luxurious apartment he lived in, the car he drove, even some of the expenses for the wedding that was taking place at that very moment had been made possible by Muskrat financial support. I had thought I was helping my son through a difficult time, not realizing I was financing his transformation into a person I didn't recognize. The bank records showed monthly transfers totaling $4,500 that had kept the sinking ship of Ethan's financial life afloat. Money, he thought, came from work bonuses or tax refunds, when in reality it was his mother desperately trying to protect him from the consequences of irresponsible decisions. The irony was devastating. While Juliet was humiliating me for being an economic burden on their future marriage, I was literally the only reason they could afford that marriage, while they were planning to strip me of my apartment to solve their financial problems. I had been solving those problems in secret for years. I closed the folder and looked toward ballroom once more. The lights were still shining. The music was still playing. The guests were still celebrating. But in less than 5 minutes, Carlos would arrive with the final documents I needed. In less than 1 minute, the process of cutting all the financial threads I had used to protect a son who had chosen to betray me would begin. This is not revenge, I reminded myself. This is justice. This is about teaching them that actions have consequences, that greed has a price. That family is not something you can sell for economic convenience. I had tried to protect Ethan from reality for too long, and that protection had corrupted him until he was unrecognizable. Headlights of a car approached the parking lot, illuminating the night with a white light that momentarily blinded me. It was Carlos, punctual as always, arriving with the documents that would change everything forever. I got out of my car and walked toward him, feeling how each step took me further away from the Aurora I had been and closer to the woman I needed to become. Mrs. Hughes, Carlos said as he got out of his car, a legal brief under his arm. Are you completely sure about this? Once we go in there, there will be no way to undo what is about to happen. I looked toward the ballroom one last time, where my son and his new wife were probably still celebrating their victory over the useless old woman they had just humiliated. I have never been more sure of something in my life, Carlos. It's time for them to meet the real Aurora Hughes. Carlos opened his folder under Them parking lot light and began to show me the documents. He had prepared with his characteristic efficiency, Mrs. Hughes. Here is the order for the immediate suspension of all bank transfers you've been making in Ethan Hughes's name, he said, pointing to the first paper. Also, here is the notice of cancellation of the lease agreement that you had confidentially guaranteed. The landlord will receive this document tomorrow morning. I took the papers with trembling but determined hands. Each document represented a thread that I had carefully woven for years to protect my son. And now I was cutting those threads in by one. And the payment for the ballroom? I asked, although I already knew the answer. Cancelled. Carlos confirmed. The deposit you had drawn will be withdrawn tonight. They will have until tomorrow to find an alternative form of payment. The magnitude of what I was about to do hit me like a cold wave. For 3 years, I've been the invisible safety net that had kept Ethan and Juliet's lives afloat. The apartment they lived in, Vecker, he drove. Even the wedding that was taking place at that very moment had all been made possible by my secret financial support. And now, in a single night, I was going to withdraw all that support definitively. Carlos, I want you to understand something. I said to him as I signed each document with a determination I hadn't felt in years. This is not cruelty or revenge. This is the only way for them to learn the real value of things. For too long, I protected them from the consequences of their actions. And that protection corrupted them into people I don't recognize. I understand perfectly, Mrs. Hughes. Carlos replied with genuine respect in his voice. In my 30 years as a financial advisor, I have seen many families destroyed by greed and ingratitude. What you are doing requires more courage than most people possess. His words gave me the final strength I needed to take the last step. We walked together toward the ballroom entrance, and with each step I could feel my heart beating faster. It wasn't nervousness I felt. It was a strange mix of sadness for what I had lost, and anticipation for what I was about to regain, my dignity, my respect, my right to be treated as a human being instead of as a resource to be exploited. The music stopped abruptly when we entered the ballroom. 130 pairs of eyes turned toward us. Andy could see the confusion on the guests' faces. Some recognized Carlos immediately. After all, he had handled financial affairs of several prominent families in the city for decades. His presence at even socially, meant that something important was about to happen. Juliet was the first to react. "What are you doing, Aurora?" She shouted at me from the center of the dance floor where she had been posing for photos with Ethan. "You already left once. Wasn't that enough drama for one night?" Her voice carried that arrogance I had come to know so well. But I could detect a note of nervousness that hadn't been there for. "Ladies and gentlemen," Carlos said in a clear, professional voice, "I apologize for interrupting this celebration. But I have urgent legal matters to discuss with Mr. Ethan Hughes and Mrs. Juliet Dawson." The silence that followed was so deep you could heart hum of the air conditioning. Some guests began to pull out their cell phones, sensing they were about to witness something extraordinary. Ethan slowly approached, his face pale and high-size, full of confusion. "What's going on here, Mom?" He asked me in a voice that no longer sounded as confident as it had when he had humiliated me just minutes before. Who is this man, and why is he talking about legal matters? I could see his hands trembling slightly as he adjusted his tie, a nervous gesture he had had since childhood. "Ethan," I said in a voice firmer than it had sounded in months, This is Carlos Jones, my financial and legal advisor. He has Cometto deliver some documents that I think you will find very enlightening, Carlos. Opened his folder and took out first document. Mr. Ethan Hughes, you are hereby notified that 5 financial guarantee your mother had provided for your lease. Agreement has been immediately canceled. Your landlord will be notified tomorrow morning, and you will have 30 days to find a new guarantor or vacate the property. All the color drained from Ethan's face. Financial guarantee, he murmured, looking at me with eyes that were beginning to fill with comprehension and horror. Mom, what is he talking about? But I could see from his expression that a part of him already knew. For years, he had suspected that his financial luck wasn't completely natural. But he had chosen not to ask questions because these words might have been uncomfortable. Also, Carlos continued relentlessly. The monthly transfers of $4,500 that your mother had been making to your personal accounts have been bit. This includes payments for credit cards, car insurance, and various other expenses that you believed were being covered by other sources. Juliet let out a gasp that echoed throughout the ballroom. That's impossible, she exclaimed, running toward us, her wedding dress dragging on the floor. Ethan doesn't have a rich mother. Look how she lives. Look at her clothes, her car. She's an old woman living on a miserable pension. Her hysteria was evident, and several guests began to murmur among themselves with increasing fascination. Finally, Carlos said, taking the last document from his folder, the guaranteed payment for this celebration has also been canceled. The ballroom management will have the right to demand full payment before guests can leave tonight. His words fell on the ballroom like a bomb, and I could see some guests nervously begin to move toward the exits. The realization hit Ethan like a hammer. You, he muttered, looking at me with eyes that couldn't fully process what they were hearing. You've been all feast time. You've been paying for everything. His voice broke on the last word. And for a moment I saw the small boy he had once been, vulnerable and confused. For 3 years, Ethan. I confirmed in a voice that sounded strangely calm after the emotional storm I had been living through. 3 years in which I thought Iwa was helping you get through a difficult time. 3 years in which I believed you would eventually recover and become the man I raised. 3 years in which I hoped you would remember the values I taught you. Juliet began to pace in circles, clutching her head with increasing desperation. This can't be happening. This can't be real. Chas screamed as the guests watched her with a mix of horror and morbid fascination. You're a poor old woman. You work at a flower shop. You drive a 10-year-old car. You can't have money. Appearance you're deceiving. Juliet, I said finally, feeling decades of careful performance come to an end. For years, I chose Tolive simply because my husband and I believed that visible wealth attracts problems. It turns out we were right. It's just that the problems came from where we least expected them. The music had stopped completely, and the only sound in the ballroom was the agitated breathing of the newlyweds and the growing murmurs of the guests. Wow, were beginning to understand that they were witnessing something completely unexpected. Some were already recording with their phones, instinctively knowing that this story would become urban legend. Mom, Ethan said, his voice broken. Please, there has to be some way to fix this. The wedding, the guests, everything. But I could see in his eyes that he was finally beginning to understand the magnitude of what he had lost. Not just money or financial support. He had lost his mother, the woman who had loved him unconditionally for 35 years. The only way to fix this, Ethan, I replied, was not to break it in the first place. The silence in the ballroom became deafening. 130 guests held their breath as they processed what they had just heard. Juliet stood motionless for the first time all night, her eyes darting between Carlos, the documents, and my face. Asef trying to find a crack in the reality that was collapsing around her. Ethan just stared at me with an expression I will never forget. A mixture of shock, belated comprehension, and absolute horror. Mrs. Hughes, Carlos said in a voice loud enough for everyone to hear, would you like me to proceed with reading the full financial details? His question hung in the air like a sword over the newlyweds' heads. I could see several guests moving closer, fascinated by the drama unfolding before their eyes. "Please, Carlos," I replied with the serenity I didn't know I possessed. "I think everyone deserves to know the full truth." Juliet tried to interrupt with a desperate shriek, but Carlos raised a hand and continued with the precision of a surgeon, performing a delicate operation over the last 36 months. Carlos began consulting his documents. Mrs. Aurora Hughes has transferred a total of $162,000 to cover the living expenses of her son, Ethan Hughes, and his fiancée. This includes $48,000 for rent payments, $44,000 for credit card payments, $18,000 for vehicle insurance, and $22,000 for miscellaneous expenses. A collective murmur swept through Thebble Room. Some guests exchanged glances of astonishment. Others pulled out calculators on their phones to verify the figures. Juliet's mother, who had remained seated at the head table throughout the confrontation, slowly stood up, her face completely pale. Furthermore, Carlos continued relentlessly. Mrs. Hughes personally guaranteed the total cost of this celebration, including the ballroom, food, music, flowers, and photography, for an amount of $53,000. Money, which, as I mentioned earlier, is no longer available to cover these expenses. Juliet finally found her voice, but what came out was more of a wail than coherent words. "This is impossible. It's a lie. No one can have so much money and live like a pauper." She turned to the guests as if looking for support, but found only fascinated faces and some who were clearly amused by her desperation. "My dear Juliet," I said with a calm that contrasted dramatically with her hysteria, "you have just learned a very valuable lesson about judging people by appearances. For years, I chose to live simply because my husband, Robert, and I valued privacy above ostentation. It turned out to be a very wise decision." Ethan finally reacted, approaching me with hesitant steps. "Mom, please, there has to be an explanation. There has to be a way to resolve this. You can't destroy my life like this." His voice broke on the last word, and for a moment I felt a pang of maternal pain that almost made me waver. "Destroy your life," I repeated, feeling the anger begin to boil inside me again. "I'm destroying your life. Wasn't it your wife who slapped me in front of 130 people? Wasn't it you who stood by without saying a word while I was being humiliated? Wasn't it you who planned to strip me of my home?" The truth of my words resonated in the ballroom like church bells. Several guests nodded, clearly remembering the scene that had started all this drama. Some even had videos on their phones of the slap Juliet had given me, digital evidence of the cruelty that had triggered this revelation. "But that was different," Ethan muttered, though his voice lacked a conviction. "We didn't know. We didn't understand. We thought you really needed help." His excuses sounded pathetic even to himself. And I could see some guests exchanging looks of contempt. "You didn't know?" I asked, my voice rising. For the first time all night. "You didn't know you were planning a family ambush to pressure me into selling my home. You didn't know you had brought a real estate appraiser without my knowledge. You didn't know you had been investigating legal ways to declare me incompetent if I didn't cooperate with each question." Ethan's posture shrank. Carlos took advantage of the moment to pull another document from his folder. "Mr. Hughes, I must also inform you that your mother has decided to amend her will. All assets that were previously designated for you to inherit have been redirected to charities dedicated to protecting seniors from family abuse." The impact of this declaration was like a silent explosion. Juliet staggered backward as if she had been physically hit. "You can't do that," she shrieked, her mask of composure finally falling completely. "We're your family. Ethan is your only son. You can't disinherit Haim over a stupid fight." "A stupid fight?" I repeated, letting the words hang in the tension-filled air. "Is that how you describe a family conspiracy to strip an old woman of her home? Is that how you justify slapping your husband's mother on her own wedding day?" My voice had turned icy, and I could see some guests flinch. Juliet's father, who had remained silent throughout the confrontation. finally approached with an expression of poorly disguised panic. "Mrs. Hughes, I think we're all a little loopsawed by the emotions of the day. Maybe we could discuss this in private when things have calmed down a bit." His tone was that of a man who had just realized he had bet on the wrong horse. "There's nothing to discuss in private," I replied firmly. "Everything I had to say has been said here in front of the same people who witnessed my humiliation. You'll chose to make this public, so my response will be public." The guests' heads moved between us as if watching a tennis match, absorbed in every exchange. Carlos closed his folder with a dry snap that echoed throughout the ballroom. "Mrs. Hughes, all documents have been delivered and explained. The legal effects will begin immediately." He turned to Ethan and Juliet with a professional expression, but not without a certain satisfaction. "I suggest you contact your own legal and financial advisors as soon as possible." Juliet finally collapsed. She literally dropped into a nearby chair and began to cry with uncontrolled sobs that echoed through the ballroom. "Everything is ruined," she murmured through her tears. "Everything, Wepland, everything we worked for. It's all destroyed." Her wedding dress, Ansi Immaculate, was now wrinkled and stained with tears. "No," I said, approaching her for the first time since the slap. "What's destroyed are the lies, the greed, and the lack of respect. What's destroyed is delusion that you can treat people like objects and expect there to be no consequences." I stopped in front of her, forcing her to look up. "This is what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness." Ethan went to his wife and placed a trembling hand on her shoulder. "Juliet, we have to find a way to fix this. There has to be something we can do." But even as he spoke, I could see in his eyes that he knew it was too late. Some bridges once burned cannot be rebuilt. "There is a way to fix this. Ethan," I said, looking him directly in the eyes for the first time in months without feeling pain. "You can learn from this. You can grow from this, Dot. You can become the people I hoped you would be before greed corrupted you." My voice softened slightly because despite everything, he was still my son. "But that growth will have to happen without my financial help, without my apartment, and without my inheritance. You will have to do it the hard way like everyone else does." The ballroom remained in absolute silence. Every person present knowing that they were witnessing the definitive end of a family relationship. Carlos and I headed toward the exit, leaving behind a ballroom full of shocked guests and a newlywed couple whose perfect world had collapsed in less than 30 minutes. As Carlos and I walked toward the exit, the silence behind us was interrupted by a voice I didn't expect to hear. "Wait, Aurora." It was Lucy Ethanzonger's sister, who had been sitting at a table in the back throughout the confrontation. She ran toward us with tears in her eyes and an expression of absolute horror on her face. "Aunt Aurora," Lucy said in a trembling voice, "I didn't know anything about this. I swear Ethan never told me what they were planning with you." Lucy had always been my favorite niece. A 29-year-old who worked as a teacher and had maintained a close relationship with me even after Kazan had distanced himself. "If I had known what they were going to do to you, I would have tried to stop them." I stopped and looked at her, seeing in her eyes the same honesty I had known since she was a little girl. "I know, Lucy," I said softly, placing a hand on her cheek. "You have always been different. You've never seen people as opportunities or resources to be exploited." Her tears fell harder as she nodded, clearly devastated by her brother's actions. "But why did you never tell us about the money?" Lucy asked with genuine confusion. "Why did you keep all this a secret for so many years?" It was a question that deserved an honest answer, especially coming from someone who had always treated me with respect and genuine love. "Because your Uncle Robert and I learned a long time ago that money changed people." I explained as some guests discreetly moved closer to listen. "We've seen families destroyed by inheritances, friendships ended by loans, and children who see their parents as walking pensions. We decided to live simply to protect the relationships that really mattered." Lucy nodded slowly, beginning to understand the wisdom behind my decisions. "But Ethan, he was different. When we were kids, he would have defended anyone who hurt you. With up to him." Her question contained all the pain of a sister who had watched her brother transform into someone unrecognizable. What happened to him was Juliet. I replied with sadness, but without bitterness. What happened to him was greed disguised as love, ambition without values, and me in my effort to protect him, depriving him of the chance to learn important lessons about responsibility and consequences. My answer resonated through the ballroom where the guests were still engrossed in every word. Carlos had respectfully stayed to the side during this exchange, but now he approached and murmured something in my ear. Mrs. Hughes, the ballroom manager, is approaching. It seems he's already found out about the cancellation of the guaranteed payment. Indeed. I could see a burly man in a suit walking toward us with several papers in his hands and a very serious expression. Mrs. Hughes. The manager said in a tense voice, I just received a payment cancellation notice that is highly irregular. The contract for this operation is guaranteed until tomorrow morning. Can you explain what's happening here? His presence added a new layer of immediate reality to the crisis I had just triggered. Mr. Martinez, I replied, remembering his name from the conversations we had when I secretly arranged the wedding payment. The financial guarantee I provided for this celebration has been revoked due to extraordinary circumstances that have come to light tonight. I gesturetta word Ethan and Juliet, who remained in the center of the ballroom like statues of despair. I understand, Martinez said, looking at the scene with the experience of someone who had handled social events for decades. And who will be responsible for the payment now? The total outstanding amount is $53,000, including the ballroom, food, music, flowers, and photography services. His voice was professional but firm, making it clear that someone would have to solve this problem immediately. Ethan finally reacted, approaching us with hesitant steps. Mr. Martinez, there must be some misunderstanding. My mom, she can't just cancel the payment like that. We're family. This can be resolved. His voice carried a desperation I had never heard before. The desperation of a man who finally understood the magnitude of his situation. Young man, Martinez said with the forced patience of a professional. The financial guarantee was provided by Mrs. Hughes personally and privately. She has the legal right to withdraw that guarantee at any time. I now need someone to provide an alternative form of payment immediately, or I will be forced to suspend Thevant. Juliet approached, stumbling, her wedding dress now completely disheveled, her makeup smeared with tears. You can't do this, she yelled at Martinez. It's our wedding day. You can't ruin our wedding day over money problems. Her hysteria was evident, and several guests began to murmur among themselves with increasing discomfort. Ma'am, Martinez replied with growing firmness, I am not ruining anything. I am simply following the contractual terms that you signed. If you cannot provide an alternative payment immediately, I will have to ask all guests to leave and suspend all services. His ultimatum fell on the ballroom like a final sentence. The reality of the situation began to penetrate the minds of the guests. Some had already started grabbed their bags and discreetly head for the exits. Others remained fascinated by the drama that continued to unfold. Like spectators of a traffic accident they couldn't look away from. Mom, Ethan said, approaching me with tears in his eyes for the first time since he was a child. Please, I know what we did was wrong. I know we hurt you, but there are 130 people here. There are photos. There are memories. You can't destroy all this over a fight. His voice broke on the last word, and for a moment I saw the little boy he had once been. Ethan, I replied with Occam, that surprised me. I am not destroying anything. You destroyed this one. You chose greed over love. When you chose manipulation over honesty, when you chose to publicly humiliate me instead of treating me with the respect I deserve as your mother. Each word was like a dagger, but they were words that needed to be said. But what are we going to do? Juliet asked in a desperate voice, looking at the guests who continued to leave the ballroom. How are we going to explain this? How are we going to pay for all of this? Her panic was evident, and I could see she was finally starting to understand the real implications of her actions. You're going to do what all responsible people do, I replied. You're going to find ways to earn money honestly. You're going to learn to live within your means. You're going to discover what it means to work hard for the things you'll want instead of expecting others to provide them for you. My voice had grown stronger, and I could feel decades of accumulated wisdom pouring out through my words. Carlos approached discreetly and murmured, "Mrs. Hughes, the legal process is complete. All documents have been delivered and explained. There is nothing more we can do here." His message was clear. It was time to leave, to let Ethan and Juliet face the consequences of their decisions without my presence as a distraction. Lucy approached once more and hugged me tightly. "Aunt Aurora, I want you to know that you will always have my respect and me love. No matter what happens with Ethan," her words were like a balm for my wounded heart, reminding me that not all family had been corrupted by greed. "And you will always have mine." "Lucy," I replied, returning the hug. "Remember this night when you make important decisions in your life. Remember that character is defined not by what we have, but by how we treat the people well live." Her tears soaked my shoulder as she nodded, completely understanding Thelison that was unfolding before her eyes. Martinez approached again, this time with greater urgency. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need an immediate resolution. I have other commencement, and I cannot keep staff here indefinitely without a guarantee of payment." His professional patience wassailingly running out, adding additional pressure to an already desperate situation. "You have my phone number," I said to Ethan and Juliet for the last time. "When you are ready to have a real conversation about respect, values, and responsibility, when you have learned what it means to earn things for yourselves, when you can look me in the eye and offer me a genuine apology for what you did to me tonight, then we can talk. But for that," I added, looking at them directly, "first you will have to find a way to solve the mess you created here all on your own." With those words, I turned and walked toward the exit with Carlos, leaving behind a ballroom full of chaos, despair, and the harsh realities deserved consequences. 3 days after the wedding, my apartment had become a refuge of peace I hadn't experienced in years. Joseph had come over every morning with coffee and pastries from the local bakery. Mockingsir, I was okay after what he called the night Aurora reclaimed her dignity. His visits had been a balm for my soul, reminding me that I still had chosen family who valued me for who I truly was. The phone had rung incessantly for these 3 days. Ethan had called 37 times, leaving messages that evolved from initial anger to desperate pleading. Juliet had sent 14 text messages, each more hysterical than the last. Her parents had shown up at my door twice, demanding that I fix themes as I had caused, but I had held my ground with a calmness that surprised even myself. Carlos arrived that morning with news that, while expected, was devastating in its full scope. "Mrs. Hughes," he had told me as we drank tea on my balcony, "I have received reports from all fronts. Ethan and Juliet were evicted from their apartment yesterday morning. The ballroom has initiated legal proceedings to recover $53,000 owed. Their credit cards have been canceled for non-payment. And where are they living now?" I had asked, although a part of me already knew the answer. "With Juliet's parents," Carlos replied. "Apparently, it's a 2-bedroom apartment where 3 people already live. The situation is tense, according to my sources." His expression suggested that tense was a very conservativist grant of reality. That afternoon, while I was watering my plants on the balcony, I saw a familiar car park in front of the building. It was Lucy, but this time she wasn't alone. With her was Amelia, my old friend from the real estate sector. And to my surprise, Joseph got out of the back seat. "Aura," Lucy yelled from the sidewalk. "We need to talk to you. There are things you need to know." When they arrived at my apartment, their faces wore a mixture of urgency and concern that immediately put me on alert. "At Aurora," Lucy began, "I've been investigating some things since the wedding night. Things I think you need to know before it's too late." She sat on my couch with a folder in her hands that looked as official as the one Carlos had carried to the ballroom. "Too late for what?" I asked, pouring her some tea while trying to stay calm. Amelia cleared her throat and spoke for the first time. "Aurora, for the last 3 days, I've been doing some digging into Ethan and Juliet's financial situation. What I found goes beyond what any of you imagined. They had been planning this for more than a year, Amelia continued. Opening the folder to reveal documents, that made me feel sick to my stomach. I found evidence that Juliet had been consulting with lawyers specializing in mental competency. Cases for seniors, they had a detailed plan to legally declare you incompetent and gain control over all your properties. Joseph, who had remained silent until then, leaned forward with a grave expression. Aurora, there's more. That night after you left the ballroom, I overheard Juliet talking on the phone with someone. She was saying that the old woman had ruined everything, but they still had Plan B. His words sent a shiver down my spine. Plan B. I repeated, feeling my stomach clench with a mixture of fear and anger. Lucy took me hand and squeezed it gently. Aunt Aurora, they've been telling everyone you've gone senile. That the scene at the wedding was evidence that you've lost touch with reality. They're building a case for a judge to declare that you can't handle your own affairs. The magnitude of their betrayal bore me like an infected wound. It wasn't enough to have publicly humiliated me, to have planned to strip me of my home, to have conspired against me for months. Now they were trying to house my justified response to their cruelty as evidence of mental incompetence. It was a wickedness that surpassed anything I had imagined possible. But that's not all, Amelia added, her voice trembling. I've discovered that Juliet has been spreading rumors in the neighborhood about your erratic behavior. She has visited several of your neighbors, suggesting that they should report anything concerning they observe about you. The systematic nature of her defamation campaign left me breathless. Carlos, who had returned for our scheduled meeting, entered the apartment at that moment and found the atmosphere thick with tension. Mrs. Hughes, I see you've already found out about some of the recent maneuvers. His expression was more serious than I had ever seen it. I have some additional news that confirms what your friends have discovered. Ethan filed a preliminary petition yesterday, Carlos said, pulling documents from his own folder. He is requesting that a court evaluate your mental competency based on what he calls irrational behavior and erratic financial decisions. He has provided sworn statements from several witnesses who were present at the wedding. Sworn statements? I asked, feeling the anger begin to replace the shock. What kind of statements? Carlos consulted his papers before answering. Statements describing your unjustified emotional outburst against an innocent young couple. Statements characterizing your financial decisions as vengeful and destructive. Statements suggesting that you have lost the ability to make rational decisions. Lucy squeezed my hand tighter. Aunt Aurora, they've convinced several wedding guests to sign declarations. Most of them don't really understand what was going on that night. They just saw an old woman attacking newlyweds. Her voice contained all the frustration of someone who had seen the truth but felt powerless to make it prevail. But we have good news, too. Joseph intervened with a smile that contrasted dramatically with the gravity of the situation. It turns out there are more people on your side than they imagine. He took out his own cell phone and showed me a screen that left me stunned. Joseph, what is this? I asked, looking at what appeared to be a social media video with thousands of views. Aurora, remember that several guests were recording that night. Well, some of those videos have gone viral. Pio Plirant, seeing a senile old woman attacking an innocent couple. They're seeing a dignified woman revealing the truths about years of abuse and manipulation. Amelia leaned in to look at the phone, too. Aurora, the comments on these videos are overwhelmingly in your favor. People are praising your courage, your dignity under pressure, your decision to set boundaries. Some are sharing their own stories of family abuse. You've become a symbol of resistance against the exploitation of seniors. Carlos nodded in approval. This public response will be invaluable if the case goes to court. It's difficult to argue that someone is mentally incompetent when thousands of people are applauding the logic and justice of their actions. His professional smile had returned, suggesting that perhaps the legal battle wouldn't be as one-sided as I had initially feared. But there's something else you need to know, I said, making a decision I had been considering for the last 3 days. If Ethan and Juliet want to play this game, if they want to turn this into a public legal battle, then they are going to discover exactly who they're messing with. I stood up and walked to my desk where I had been preparing my own folder of documents. For these 3 days, I have been in contact with several lawyers specializing in elder abuse. I have been documenting everything. The intimidating visits, the implicit threats, the conspiracy to strip me of my property, even the slap Juliet gave me. I took out photographs of my swollen cheek taken immediately after the wedding. Medical evidence of the physical assault. If they want war, I continued with the determination I hadn't felt in decades. They will have war. But it will be a war fought on my terms, with my resources, and with the truth on my side. Furthermore, I added with a smile that surprised even myself, I have decided to do something I should have done years ago. I am going to tell my full story publicly. I am going to show the world exactly what happens when greed is disguised as family love. The room filled with a new energy. The energy of people who knew that justice was on their side and that they had their sources to make it prevail. 6 months after that night that divided my life into a before and an after, I found myself sitting in the most important television studio in the city, waiting for the interview to begin that would tell my full story to the entire country. The program, Stories of a Lifetime, had contacted Carlos after the wedding videos had accumulated more than 2 million views on social media. Mystery had become a national symbol of resistance against family abuse of seniors. The journalist, Catherine Diaz, a woman respected for her professional integrity, reviewed her notes while the technicians made the final lighting adjustments. Mrs. Hughes. She said to me with a warm smile, I want you to know that you have inspired thousands of people with your courage. We have received hundreds of letters from viewers who have lived through similar situations during these 6 months. Many things had changed. The legal case Ethan and Juliet tried to build against me collapsed spectacularly when Carlos presented evidence of their conspiracy to declare me incompetent. Not only did they lose the case, but they were fined for legal frivolity and ordered to pay my attorney fees, which amounted to $45,000. The bankruptcy that followed was swift and devastating. Ethan had lost his job when his employer found out about the public scandal. Juliet had tried to start an image consulting business, but the viral videos had ruined her professional reputation. They were now living in a 1-bedroom apartment in the suburbs, working part-time jobs and struggling to pay their accumulated debts. We are on the air in 5 minutes, the program director announced. I looked at the cameras that would soon broadcast my story to millions of homes, feeling a mix of nervousness and determination. At my side was Carlos, who had agreed to appear with me to explain the legal aspects of the case. In the audience were Joseph, Lucy, and Amelia, my pillars of support during these difficult months. The most painful thing about these 6 months had been Ethan's complete silence. After losing the legal case, he had made no attempt to contact me. There were no calls asking for forgiveness, no letters explaining his behavior, no acknowledgement that his actions had been wrong. It was as if Hey-Ha decided that it was easier to hate me than to face the reality of what he had done. Juliet, on the other hand, had tried to contact me several times. Her messages had evolved from legal threats to desperate pleas for financial help. The last message received just 2 weeks earlier said, Aurora, I know we made mistakes, but we're family. Ethan is sick with stress and I'm pregnant. Please, you can't let your grandchild grow up in poverty. The news of the pregnancy had been like a dagger to my heart. I was going to be a grandmother, but my grandchild would grow up in a home filled with resentment toward me. However, I had learned the most difficult lesson of my life. I couldn't save people who didn't want to be saved. Trying to do so only perpetuated their destructive behavior. Mrs. Hughes, we'll start in 30 seconds, Catherine informed me. I took a deep breath, unthought of all the people who had written to me after seeing the videos, telling me their own stories of family abuse. Seniors whose children had taken control of their finances. Parents emotionally blackmailed by irresponsible adult children. Grandparents threatened with not seeing their grandchildren if they didn't provide financial support. We are live in 3, 2, 1. The red light on's camera came on and Catherine began with an introduction she had rehearsed perfectly. Good evening and welcome to Stories of a Lifetime. I am Catherine Diaz, and tonight we have with us Aurora Hughes, a 68-year-old woman whose story has shocked the nation and put the issue of family abuse against seniors at the center of a national debate. Mrs. Hughes, Catherine continued, turning tone 6 months after the events at your son's wedding. How does it feel to know that your story has inspired so many people? Her question was direct but compassionate, allowing me to start on my own terms. I feel grateful, I replied, feeling my voice stabilize as I spoke. Grateful that something as painful as the loss of my relationship with my son has served to help other people in similar situations. For months, I felt lonely and confused, wondering if I was the one who was wrong. Now I know that what I went through is more common than any of us will like to admit. Catherine nodded and consulted her notes. Tell us about the years leading up to that night when you started to realize that something wasn't right in your relationship with your son and his fiancée. It was the question I had been waiting for. The opportunity to explain how emotional and financial abuse develops gradually, almost imperceptibly. It started with small things, I explained, remembering those early signs I had ignored out of love. Comments about my age, suggestions that I could no longer take care of myself. Subtle pressures for me to make decisions that truly benefited them. Family abuse rarely begins with blows or shouting. It begins with the slow erosion of your self-confidence. It's with making you question your own reality. Carlos leaned forward to add legal context. What Aurora describes is a classic pattern we see in elder abuse cases. The perpetrators, especially when they are family members, use psychological manipulation tactics before proceeding to more direct forms of coercion. It's insidious because it's disguised as loving concern. And the moment of the revelation, Catherine asked, when did you decide to expose the truth about your financial situation? It was the question I knew would come, the one that required me to explain the most difficult decision of my life. The slap, I replied simply. When Juliet slapped me in the middle of the ballroom in front of 130 people for refusing to hand over keys to my apartment, I knew she had crossed a line I couldn't ignore. In that moment, I understood that it was no longer about protecting my family from the consequences of their actions. It was about protecting myself from continuing to be abused. The interview continued for 45 minutes, covering all aspects of my story. I talked about the decision to live Simplito, protect my privacy, about the years of secret financial support I had provided, about the conspiracy to declare me incompetent, and about the legal battle that followed. Each answer was designed not only to tell my story, Kay, but to educate others about the warning signs and available resources. Mrs. Hughes, Catherine said near the end of the program, do you have a message for your son if he is watching this interview tonight? It was the most difficult question, the one I had been both dreading and hoping for. I looked directly into the camera, knowing there was a chance Ethan was watching. Ethan, if you are listening to this, I want you to know that I still love you. I will always love you because you are my son. But loving someone doesn't mean allowing them to abuse you. Loving someone doesn't mean sacrificing your dignity for their convenience. Loving someone doesn't mean becoming a victim of their greed. The doors to my heart will always be open for you. I continued, feeling tears begging to well up in my eyes. But only if you can walk through them as the honorable man I tried to raise you to be. Only if you can look me in the eye and accept full responsibility for your actions. Only if you can show that you have learned that family is built on love and respect, not on opportunism and manipulation. And for all the people watching this who recognize their own story and mine, I added addressing the broader audience. I want you to know that you have the right to be treated with dignity no matter your age. You have the right to make your own decisions about your money, your home, your life. You have the right to set boundaries with family members, treat you badly. And you have the right to seek help when those boundaries are violated. When the cameras turn off, the studio erupted in applause from the production crew. Catherine hugged me with tears in her eyes. Aurora, that was one of the most powerful interviews I have ever done. It's going to change lives. Carlos nodded proudly, knowing we had achieved something bigger than winning a legal case. That night, as I drove back to my apartment with Joseph, Lucy, and Amelia, I felt more at peace than I had been in years. I had told my story. I had defended my truth. And I had used my pain to help others. No matter what the future held with Ethan, I knew I had done the right thing. Aurora, Lucy said from the back seat, "Eom, so proud of you. You have turned the worst experience of your life into something that will protect thousands of people." Her words resonated in my heart as we arrived home. The apartment that Julie Thad once coveted now truly felt like a home again. Not because I had won a legal battle, but because I had finally learned to value myself enough to demand the respect I deserved. I had discovered that sometimes the only way to save a relationship is to be willing to lose it. And as I prepared for bed that night, I knew I had set the most important example of my life. That it's never too late to stand up for yourself. That you are never too old to demand dignity, and that true love sometimes requires the most difficult decisions. My story had ended, but my life was just beginning again. 2 years have passed since that night hat divided my life into a before and an after. As I write these lines, I am sitting on the same balcony where I used to water my plants and reflect on the silent humiliations I thought I had to endure out of a mother's love. How different the world looks when you finally find the courage to put a prizzy in your dignity. The morning began like all of them have for the last 18 months with a call from Carmen, the coordinator of the Aurora Hughes Foundation for the Protection of Seniors. Yes, I decided Tao's my name for the charitable organization I founded with part of my redirected inheritance. Aurora, we have 23 new cases this week. Carmen informed me with that mixture of sadness and determination that characterizes those of us who work in this field. All similar patterns. Adult children pressuring older parents for property or money. Every case that comes across my desk is like looking into a mirror of the past. Yesterday, I reviewed the file of a 72-year-old woman whose daughter convinced her to sell her house for her own good, only to discover that the money financed a failed business and a vacation in Europe. The day before yesterday, it was a 69-year-old man whose twins emotionally blackmailed him. "If you don't lend us $50,000, you will never see your grandchildren again." The irony is not lost on me. I have turned my worst personal experience into my most meaningful life purpose. The foundation has helped more than 400 seniors regain control over their finances, their properties, and most importantly, their self-esteem. We have specialized lawyers, social workers, psychologists, and a support system that I wish I had had when I felt so lonely and confused. Joseph is still my dearest neighbor, although he is now also my foundation's vice president. His 72 years are filled with a renewed energy since he started giving lectures on how to detect family manipulation. "Aurora," he told me last week as we were reviewing cases, "I never thought my golden years would include becoming a detective for dysfunctional families. But it's the best adventure I've ever had." Lucy moved into the apartment next door a year ago, after her divorce from a marriage that had lasted only 8 months. She decided she needed to be close to the bravest person she knows. Working ASD Foundation's educational director has given her a purpose she never found in her career as a traditional teacher. "Aunt Aurora," she tells me frequently, "you taught me that sometimes real family doesn't come from blood, but from those who choose to respect you unconditionally." The success of my public story has brought unexpected consequences. The book I wrote with the help of an investigative journalist became a national bestseller. When Love Hurts, An Elderly Woman Fights Back, has sold more than 200,000 copies, and all the royalties go directly to the foundation. The letters I receive from readers are living testimonies that my experience resonated in thousands. Of homes where silence had been the norm, Carlos is still my financial advisor. But now he is also the foundation's principal accountant. His experience in handling the legal aspects of my confrontation with Ethan has become an invaluable asset in helping others in similar situations. "Mrs. Hughes," he told me during our monthly meeting, "we have recovered more than $3 million in properties and savings that abusive family members had illegally obtained." The question everyone asks me, the one that comes up in every interview and every deep conversation, is if I miss Ethan. The answer is complex and painful. I miss the child he was, the young man who had shown flashes of kindness and honor. I miss the illusion of the family I thought we had. But I didn't miss the last few years of manipulation, emotional blackmail, and systematic disrespect. Ethan tried to contact me exactly 3 times during these 2 years. The first was 6 months after the television interview, when apparently some coworkers had seen the show and started reading him differently. The second was when his son, my grandson Oliver, was born 14 months ago. The third was 3 months ago when Juliet left him, taking the baby and half of their meager possessions. Each time he called, it was to ask for financial help, never to for a genuine apology or acknowledge the harm he had caused. His pattern of thought remains identical. He sees his problems as external injustices, not as consequences of his decisions. The last conversation lasted less than 5 minutes and ended when he said, "Mom, your pride is more important than your grandson." I replied with a clarity that surprised me. "Ethan, my dignity is exactly as important as my grandson, and I hope that one day he learns that lesson better than you did." It was the first time I had ever hung up the phone on Maizen, and it was also strangely liberating. The topic of Oliver Migranson is the only one that can still make me cry. He is 14 months old and does not know me. When Juliet left, she took all the family photographs, including the few I had of him. I have created a trust fund for his college education administered by Carlos that'll be available when he turns 18. Regardless of the relationship we have by then, maybe. Amelia tells me during our weekly dinners, when Oliver is older, he will seek his own answers about what happened in his family. Maybe he will find the courage to get to know his grandmother for himself. Amelia has become my closest confidant, especially since she also had to set difficult boundaries with toxic family members a decade ago. What surprises me most about these 2 years is how much my physical and mental health have improved. During the last few years with Ethan and Juliet, I had developed chronic insomnia, constant headaches, and an anxiety that kept me in a state of permanent alert. My doctor says my current tests show the stress levels of a woman 10 years younger. Aurora, Dr. Hernandez told me during my last checkup. It's impressive how the body responds when we eliminate sources of toxic stress. Your blood pressure is perfect. Your sleep is restorative. Even your posture has improved. He's right. I walk more upright. My voice sounds firmer and my hands no longer tremble when I make important decisions. That flower shop where I worked closed a year ago. But I found a new passion in the community garden I helped establish in the building. I teach other older residents about medicinal plants and organic growing techniques. It's an activity that connects me with the earth and with people who appreciate accumulated wisdom instead of seeing it as obsolescence. My current routine includes 3 days a week at the foundation offices, 2 days visiting the homes of seniors who need emotional support, and weekends dedicated to writing my second book. This one will focus on practical strategies for detecting and preventing family financial abuse based on Theo cases we have handled. The apartment that was once a source of greed is now a space of peace and creativity. I have converted Ethan's old room into an office where I receive people who need guidance. The walls are filled with thank you letters, photos of families we have helped reconcile in a healthy way, and diplomas from the universities where I have given lectures. One of the most rewarding experiences of this period has been becoming a mentor to other older women who are facing similar situations. Margaret, 74 years old, came to the foundation 6 months ago after her son sold her car without permission to pay off gambling debts. We worked together for 3 months, and last week she sent me a photo of her smiling in her new car, which she bought with her own savings after recovering the money legally. Aurora Margaret wrote to me in her letter, "You taught me that setting boundaries is not cruelty, it's survival. You taught me that self-love is not selfishness, it's a necessity. You taught me that it's never too late to stand up for yourself." Her words reminded me why all this pain was worth it. Reflecting on these 2 years, I understand that my story does not have the traditional happy ending where family reconciles and we live happily ever after. But it has something better. It has authenticity, reclaiming dignity, and a purpose that transcends my personal pain. I have learned that sometimes the greatest demonstration of self-love is to walk away from those who insist on hurting you. If I could send a message to the past, to the Aurora who walked into that wedding ballroom 2 years ago, I would say to her, have a courage. What is about to happen will be painful. But on the other side awaits a life more authentic than you ever imagined possible. Peace awaits you. The peace that comes from knowing you will never again allow anyone to treat you as if you are disposable. Tonight, as I finish writing these reflections, I look toward the future with renewed hope. Tomorrow, I have a meeting with senators to discuss new legislation to better protect seniors from family abuse. Next week, I am inaugurating the Foundation's 3rd Regional Center. Next month, I will begin a documentary series on this topic that will be broadcast nationally. My life at 70 is richer, more meaningful, more authentic than it was at 68. I have learned that the end of a toxic relationship is not a loss, it's a liberation. I have discovered that true family is chosen as much as it is inherited. And I have proven that it is never too late to write a new chapter in your own story. When people ask me if I regret what I did that night, my answer is always the same. Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like this story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on Thestry. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on me channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story with love and respect.